She was 6 months pregnant, standing on the terrace of the most exclusive tennis club in the city, surrounded by millionaires in designer clothes. When her husband shoved her in front of everyone, 20 witnesses saw it happen. 20 people who'd watched her disappear into this marriage, watched her become smaller, quieter, less. But there was one witness her husband didn't expect: the new tennis coach. The quiet guy who kept to himself, the one who'd been watching for 3 weeks. Her brother, Delta Force, missing for 8 years, and he'd seen everything. What happens when a pregnant woman finally says enough? When a trained soldier steps between his sister and danger? When 20 witnesses decide to stop looking away? This is the story of Elena Bennett, the millionaire's wife who everyone thought had it all, until the night everything shattered like glass on marble, and the brother who crossed an ocean to save her. Stay with me, because this story gets darker before it gets lighter, more painful before it gets hopeful. But I promise you it's worth every single minute. This is a story about survival, about courage, about finding yourself after someone spent years making you disappear. Let's begin. The champagne flute shattered against white marble. Elena Morgan watched the liquid spread across the terrace like spilled blood, her hand pressed against her swollen belly. 6 months pregnant. The baby kicked hard against her palm, as if sensing danger. "You're embarrassing me." Bradley's voice was quiet, too quiet, the tone that meant trouble later. Around them, the Riverside Tennis Club's Saturday social hour continued without pause. Women in designer tennis whites, men in expensive polo shirts, bottles of wine that cost more than Elena used to earn in a week. Everyone pretending they hadn't noticed the broken glass, the raised voices, the way Elena had shrunk into herself. "I just asked if we could leave early," Elena said. Her voice came out smaller than she wanted. "The babies have been kicking all day. My feet are swollen. I'm tired." "We leave when I say we leave." Bradley's fingers wrapped around her upper arm. His grip was tight, too tight. It would leave marks. It always left marks. "I have clients here, business connections. You knew that before we came." The new tennis coach walked past their table. Tall, broad shoulders, military bearing. Something about his profile looked familiar. Elena couldn't place it. He glanced their way. His eyes met hers for just a moment. Then he kept walking toward the courts with a basket of tennis balls. "Bradley, you're hurting me." His fingers tightened. "Stop being dramatic. Stop making a scene." Elena tried to step back, create space. Her heel caught on the edge of the terrace. She stumbled, lost her balance. Her hands flew up to catch herself. Bradley shoved her. Not hard, not violent, just enough. Just enough to make her cower herself against the table behind her. Just enough to make her knees buckle. Just enough to make her gasp. Just enough to make both hands fly to her stomach. To protect the baby. To shield the life inside her from the man who'd helped create it. Hard enough that 20 people saw. Hard enough that no one could pretend it didn't happen. The tennis coach dropped his basket. Balls scattered across the terrace, bright yellow against pristine white stone. They rolled everywhere, under tables, into planters, across the perfectly manicured lawn. He moved fast, impossibly fast. 1 second he was 20 feet away. The next second he had Bradley's wrist locked behind his back in some kind of military hold. "Don't touch her." His voice was steel. "Don't you ever touch her." Elena looked up, really looked, at the man holding her husband, at the face she hadn't seen in 8 years, at the brother who disappeared into the military and never come home. Ryan. Her brother's eyes locked on hers, dark brown, intense, exactly like she remembered from childhood. From scraped knees and bullies at school, from the day he'd left for basic training, except now something harder lived in those eyes. Something that made Bradley go completely still in his grip. "Hi, Ellie." Ryan's voice softened for just a moment when he said her name. Then it went hard again as he looked at Bradley. "We need to have a serious conversation about how you treat my sister." The club manager appeared. Marcus Webb had that panicked expression of someone watching their career implode. "Mr. Cole, please release Mr. Morgan immediately. We don't want any trouble here. This is a family establishment." Too late for that. Ryan didn't loosen his grip. I just watched this man assault a pregnant woman in front of 20 witnesses. My pregnant sister. The terrace had gone silent. Every conversation stopped mid-sentence. Every glass paused halfway to lips. Every eye turned toward their little tableau. Elena felt the weight of all those stares, all that judgment, all that curiosity. She'd spent 3 years making sure no one saw, making sure no one knew, making sure her marriage looked perfect from the outside. Now everyone was looking. Bradley found his voice. You're her brother? The tennis coach is her brother? This is insane. This is a setup. Delta Force, actually. Ryan smiled. It wasn't a friendly smile. Been stateside for 6 months. Needed a quiet job while I dealt with some transition issues. Tennis coaching seemed peaceful. Low stress. Good for dealing with PTSD. His eyes went cold. Turns out I was wrong about the peaceful part. Elena's knees felt weak. Not from the shove. Not from the pregnancy. From 8 years of missing. 8 years of wondering. 8 years of thinking her brother had forgotten about her. Had moved on. Had built a life that didn't include his little sister. How long? Her voice cracked. How long have you been here? Working here? 3 weeks. Ryan's jaw tightened. Long enough. 3 weeks. He'd been here 3 weeks. Watching, seeing, knowing. Long enough to see how Bradley spoke to her, how he controlled where she sat, what she ordered, how long they stayed, who she talked to, what she said. Long enough to see the truth Elena had been hiding from everyone, including herself, her husband, her successful, wealthy, powerful husband, the man who gave her everything, the man who'd promised to love and protect her, the man who'd gotten down on one knee in front of Tiffany's and promised her the world, the man who'd just shoved his 6 months pregnant wife in front of the entire Riverside Tennis Club. Let me go right now. Bradley's voice shook with rage. Do you know who I am? Do you know who my family is? I will have you arrested for assault. I will sue you for everything you own. I will destroy your life. I will make sure you never work again. I will... Try it. Ryan released him with a controlled shove that sent Bradley stumbling forward 3 steps. But first, you're going to apologize to Elena. On your knees, in front of everyone here. Bradley straightened his polo shirt, smoothed down his hair. His face was red, then white, then red again. I'm not apologizing for anything. She was being difficult. She's always difficult lately. It's the pregnancy hormones. She gets emotional, irrational. I was trying to steady her. She stumbled. The slap came from Elena's left. Jasmine Parker had been sitting at the next table with her husband. Mid-30s, perfectly highlighted hair, diamond tennis bracelet that probably cost more than Elena's car. Bradley had pointed her out earlier, told Elena to be nice to her, said her husband David owned half the commercial real estate downtown, said they were important connections. I've been watching you two for months, Jasmine said quietly. Her voice carried across the silent terrace. The way you talk to her, the way she flinches before you even move, the way she apologizes for things that aren't her fault. I told myself it wasn't my business. I told myself I was imagining things. She looked at Elena. I'm sorry, I should have said something sooner. I should have done something. Elena's throat closed. Someone had noticed. Someone had seen. She wasn't crazy. She wasn't imagining things. Someone else had witnessed what she'd been too afraid to name. Marcus Webb cleared his throat. Mr. Morgan, perhaps we should discuss this situation in my office, away from the members, in private. No. Ryan stepped between Bradley and Elena, a wall, a shield. We're discussing this right here, right now, with witnesses, with everyone watching. Elena, do you want to press charges against your husband for assault? Did she? The question hung in the air like smoke. If she said yes, everything would explode. Bradley's family was old money, connected, powerful. His mother, Diane, sat on every important board in the city. His father played golf with judges. His sister's fiancé was a state senator. They would destroy her, take everything, make her wish she'd stayed silent. But her hand rested on her belly, on the baby who just felt their father shove their mother, on the tiny person who was depending on Elena to keep them safe, to make the right choice, To be strong when being weak felt so much easier. Yes, the word came out stronger than she expected. Clearer, more certain. Yes, I want to press charges. Bradley's face went purple. You ungrateful little bitch. After everything I've given you, the house, the cars, the credit cards, the lifestyle, the security, this is how you repay me. By humiliating me in front of my business associates? By listening to some washed-up soldier who abandoned you 8 years ago? By not letting you assault me? Elena's voice didn't shake anymore. Yes, Bradley, that's exactly how I repay you. Ryan pulled out his phone. Detective Grant, Ryan Cole, I need you at Riverside Tennis Club immediately. We have an assault, multiple witnesses, pregnant victim. He paused. Yes, my sister. The next 15 minutes blurred together like a bad dream. Police cars arrived, lights flashing, no sirens. The club had probably requested discretion. Officers took statements, separated people, asked questions. It took photographs of the broken glass, of Elena's arm where Bradley had grabbed her, of the way she was holding her stomach. Bradley's attorney arrived wearing golf clothes in fury, started making demands, talking about misunderstandings, accidents, emotional pregnant women who couldn't be trusted. But the witnesses lined up, more than Elena expected. Jasmine Parker, Marcus Webb, despite his obvious discomfort, 3 other women from nearby tables, the waiter who'd served their dinner, a busboy who'd been clearing dishes. They'd all seen. They'd all stayed silent. Until now, Ryan stood beside Elena the entire time, not touching, just present. A solid wall between her and Bradley, between her and the life that was shattering around her like dropped crystal, between her and the person she'd been for 3 years, small, controlled, afraid. Where will you go? Ryan asked quietly while the police photographed the scene. After this, where will you stay? I don't know. Elena's voice was small again. The apartment is Bradley's apartment. The car is Bradley's car. The credit cards are Bradley's credit cards. Everything is Bradley's. I have nothing. You have me. Ryan's hand finally touched her shoulder. Gentle, careful, nothing like Bradley's grip. You've always had me, Ellie. I'm sorry it took me so long to find you. Elena turned to look at her brother. Really look at him. The boy who'd taught her to ride a bike had become a man who'd seen things she couldn't imagine, done things he wouldn't talk about, fought in places that existed only in classified files, come home broken in ways that didn't show on the outside, who'd taken a quiet job at a tennis club to heal, and found his sister trapped in a nightmare. Why didn't you tell me you were here? Ryan's expression flickered. Pain, guilt, regret. I tried, called your old number. The line was disconnected, went to your old apartment, new tenants. Your friends on social media said they hadn't heard from you in years. You disappeared, completely off the grid. His jaw tightened. That's when I knew something was wrong. Started looking harder. Found out you'd married Bradley Morgan 3 years ago. Found out he was a member here. Applied for the tennis coaching position under my real name. Got hired, started watching. Watching what? You, him. The way you moved around him like you were walking on eggshells. The way your smile never reached your eyes anymore. The way you'd check your phone 3 times before answering it. Lock, unlock, lock, unlock, lock. Like you were terrified of missing his call. Ryan's voice was rough. Been trying to figure out how bad it was. How to help without making things worse. Waited too long. I'm sorry. You're here now. Elena's voice broke. That's what matters. The police finished their photographs, their questions, their forms. Detective Louise Grant arrived 20 minutes after the initial call. Mid-40s, sharp eyes, no-nonsense haircut. She looked at the scene, at Bradley, at Elena's arm, at the witnesses, at Ryan. This is straightforward, she said. Multiple witnesses to an assault, clear physical evidence. Pregnant victim, wealthy perpetrator, with resources to flee. She looked at Bradley. Mr. Morgan, you're under arrest for assault. You have the right to remain silent. Bradley's attorney started objecting. talking about bail, about misunderstandings, about his client's standing in the community, his business obligations, his family's reputation. Detective Grant ignored him. She'd heard it all before. Elena could see it in her eyes. This wasn't her first wealthy man who thought money meant immunity. Wouldn't be her last. "Can I go?" Elena asked quietly. "Or do I need to stay?" "You can go. We have your statement. We have your contact information. We'll need you to come to the station tomorrow. Give a full formal statement, but tonight you need to rest. Take care of yourself and that baby." Detective Grant handed Elena a card. "My direct line. You call if you need anything. Day or night, anything at all." Ryan's hand on Elena's shoulder guided her toward the parking lot, away from the lights, the stairs, the whispers, the life she'd built on lies and silence. "I don't have anywhere to go," Elena said again. The reality was hitting her. "Everything I own is in that house. Our house, his house. We'll get your things. With a police escort if necessary. Tonight you're coming home with me." Ryan's voice left no room for argument. "It's not much, but it's safe, and right now safe is all that matters." Safe. When had that become the only thing that mattered? When had her life gotten so small that safety felt like luxury instead of baseline? When had she stopped expecting more, deserving more, believing she could have more? Elena looked back at the tennis club one last time, at the terrace where her marriage had ended, where her real life had finally begun, at the place where she'd been small and scared and silent for the last time. Tomorrow would be hard. Tomorrow would be terrifying. Tomorrow would be the beginning of a war she wasn't sure she could win. But tonight she was going home with her brother, the person who'd crossed an ocean to find her, who'd taken a job coaching tennis just to watch over her, who'd stepped between her and danger without hesitation. Tonight she was safe. And that was enough. Ryan's apartment was nothing like Elena expected. Clean, sparse, military precise in its organization. A mattress on the floor in one corner. No bed frame. One chair at a small table. A television mounted to the wall. Weights stacked neatly by the window. A punching bag hanging from a ceiling beam. Nothing on the walls except a single photograph in a simple black frame. Elena recognized it immediately. Herself at 12 years old. Gap-toothed smile. Messy ponytail. Soccer uniform. Ryan had kept it through everything. Through deployments, through combat, through whatever hell he'd experienced that put those shadows in his eyes. "It's not much," Ryan said. He set her overnight bag by the mattress. He'd insisted they go back to Bradley's house with a police escort. Insisted Elena pack whatever she needed immediately. Clothes, toiletries, important documents. "But it's safe, and it's yours as long as you need it." Safe. There was that word again. When had safe become the highest aspiration? When had it replaced happy, fulfilled, free? Elena sank onto the edge of the mattress. Her hands wouldn't stop shaking. Adrenaline crash. She recognized it intellectually, but her body was still in fight or flight mode, still waiting for Bradley to appear, to apologize, to explain, to make her feel crazy for pressing charges. "He's going to destroy me," the words tumbled out. "His family has connections everywhere. Judges, politicians, lawyers. The police chief plays golf with his father every Sunday. They're going to make this go away, make me look crazy, vindictive, unstable." "Let them try." Ryan handed her a glass of water, sat on the floor across from her, giving her space. "I've faced worse than entitled millionaires with family connections. So have you. You don't understand." Elena's voice rose slightly. "Bradley controls everything. The bank accounts are all in his name. The house is only his name, the cars, the credit cards. Even my phone is on his family plan. I have nothing. Nothing that's actually mine. Then we start over." Ryan's voice was calm, patient, the same voice he'd used when teaching her to ride a bike, when helping with homework, when explaining why their father left. "I've started over before, multiple times. You can too." "I'm 6 months pregnant." Elena heard the edge of hysteria in her voice. "Starting over isn't exactly easy right now. What am I supposed to do? Where am I supposed to live? How am I supposed to support myself and a baby? One step at a time, one day at a time, same way anyone does. Ryan leaned forward slightly. But staying with Bradley? That wasn't easy either. That was slowly dying. At least this way, you're alive. The truth of it hit Elena like a physical blow. He was right. She'd been slowly dying for 3 years, becoming smaller, quieter, less, apologizing for existing, for taking up space, for having needs, for being human. Her phone buzzed. Bradley's mother, Diane Morgan, third call in 10 minutes. Elena had been letting them all go to voicemail. Now she forced herself to look at the messages. This is a mistake, Elena. Bradley loves you. He made a small error in judgment under stress. Don't throw away your marriage over nothing. Our family attorney advises that you're making a serious legal error. False accusations carry severe consequences. Think about the baby. Children need their fathers. Don't be selfish and destroy your child's future over your emotions. Elena showed Ryan the messages. He read them without expression, then stood, walked to his small kitchen, opened a drawer, came back with scissors. Cut the card. He nodded at her phone. Right now, take out the SIM card and cut it in half. Tomorrow, we'll get you a new number, new phone, your own plan that he can't track or control. I can't afford that. I don't have any money. I can, until you get on your feet. Ryan's expression was firm, gentle but unyielding. This isn't charity, Ellie. This is what family does. What I should have been doing all along instead of disappearing into the military for 8 years. Guilt flickered across his face. Elena recognized it. She saw the same expression in her own mirror every day. Every time she wondered how she'd let her life become so small, so controlled. Every time she asked herself why she'd stayed silent so long. Where have you been? The question came out quieter than she intended. 8 years, Ryan. 8 years without a word, without a phone call, without even a letter. I thought you were dead. I thought I'd lost you. He was quiet for a long moment. His eyes focused somewhere past her, somewhere dark, somewhere he didn't want to revisit. Places I can't talk about, doing things I'm trying to forget. His hands flexed, opened, closed, opened. I came back different, wrong, needed time to figure out who I was anymore, if I was anything anymore. Took a medical discharge 6 months ago, been trying to build something normal ever since. Is that why you became a tennis coach? Seemed peaceful, low stress, repetitive in a good way, good for dealing with PTSD and anxiety. He gave a humorless laugh. Turns out watching my baby sister get abused by her millionaire husband wasn't exactly therapeutic. Elena's throat closed. You knew? Before today? I suspected from day one, for bringing. The first time you came to the club with Bradley. Ryan's voice hardened. The way you moved, like you were constantly calculating his reactions. The way you watched his face before speaking, before laughing, before doing anything. The way you apologized for everything. Even things that weren't your fault. Even things that weren't remotely your responsibility. It wasn't always this bad. Elena's hands twisted in her lap, defensive, ashamed. At first he was wonderful, attentive, romantic, generous. Everyone said I was so lucky, that I'd won the lottery, marrying Bradley Morgan. And then, Ryan's voice was gentle, encouraging, not pushing, just waiting. Then we got married, moved into his house. Things changed, little things at first. Elena felt tears building behind her eyes. He didn't like my work clothes, said they weren't appropriate for a woman in his social circle. Bought me a whole new wardrobe. Conservative, expensive, things he chose. I thought it was sweet, thoughtful, controlling. I didn't see it that way then. I thought he was helping me, improving me. Elena's voice got quieter. Then he started commenting on my friends, said they were too loud, too demanding of my time, too negative. Made it uncomfortable when they visited. Eventually they stopped trying. Isolation. Ryan's jaw worked. Classic abuse pattern. cut off the support system, make the victim completely dependent. I didn't see it as abuse. I thought I was growing up, maturing, becoming the kind of woman who belonged in his world. Elena felt hot tears on her cheeks now. Then he suggested I quit my job, said we were trying for a baby, that stress wasn't good for conception, that he made enough money for both of us, that I should focus on building our family. And you believed him. I wanted to believe him. I wanted to believe marriage was supposed to feel like this, that love required sacrifice, that making him happy was my job. Elena's voice broke. When did I become this person? This small, scared person who needs permission to exist. The baby kicked, hard, like punctuation, like protest. Her phone buzzed again. Different number. Elena almost didn't answer, but something made her pick up. Elena, a woman's voice. Familiar. It's Jasmine from the club. Marcus gave me your number from the member contact list. I hope that's okay. I hope I'm not overstepping. It's okay. Elena's voice was hoarse from crying. I wanted to say something. What you did tonight took real courage, the kind most people never find. Jasmine paused. I watched my sister stay with a man like Bradley for 12 years. By the time she finally left, she didn't recognize herself anymore. Didn't know what she liked, what she wanted, who she was without him. I don't know who I am anymore either. Then this is your chance to find out, to remember. Jasmine's voice was firm, strong. I know you're scared. I know it feels impossible. I know Bradley's family is going to come at you with everything they have, but you're not alone. My husband and I want to help. No strings, no expectations, just help. Why? Elena couldn't help asking. You don't even know me. Because I wish someone had helped my sister sooner. Because I watched you tonight and I saw her, saw myself, saw every woman who's ever made herself smaller to fit someone else's expectations. Jasmine took a breath. And I saw your brother's face when Bradley touched you. That man would die for you, but you shouldn't have to rely on a man to save you anymore. You shouldn't need saving. You should just be free. I don't know what I need. Start with this. Tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock, my husband's friend is a family law attorney, one of the best in the state, Timothy Ashford. He's agreed to meet with you, pro bono, no charge, just a consultation to talk about your options. I can't accept charity. It's not charity, it's justice. Jasmine's voice was steel-wrapped in velvet. Men like Bradley Morgan count on women being too scared, too broke, too isolated to fight back. He's counting on you giving up, coming back, apologizing. Prove him wrong. After Elena hung up, she sat in silence for a long moment. Ryan had moved back to his position by the window, sitting, waiting, on guard even in his own home. Some habits never died. Someone wants to help, Elena finally said. A divorce attorney, Timothy Ashford, pro bono. Jasmine Parker's husband knows everyone in this city, every judge, every politician, every power player. Ryan's expression didn't change. Good people to have on your side. I don't understand why they'd help me. They don't owe me anything. Because you're not the first woman Bradley Morgan has hurt. You're just the first one with a Delta Force brother and 20 witnesses. Ryan's eyes were dark, dangerous. I made some calls while you were on the phone. Did some research. Bradley has had 3 prior girlfriends file restraining orders against him, all quietly settled by his family's attorneys, all buried under non-disclosure agreements and payoffs. Elena felt cold. Devaso. 3 other women? That I found in 20 minutes of searching public records. There are probably more who never filed, more who stayed silent, more who were paid off or threatened into submission. Ryan leaned forward. You're not weak for staying as long as you did. You're strong for leaving now. Remember that when his family comes after you. Remember that when the lawyers make you feel small. Remember that when you want to give up. The baby kicked again 3 times in quick succession. Like agreement, like determination, like a tiny person saying, not this time, not us, not anymore. Elena took a deep breath. I need to make a list. Everything I need for the baby, everything I left at the house, everything Bradley controls that I need to take control of. Tomorrow, Ryan stood and pulled a blanket from a closet, handed it to Elena. Tonight you sleep, actually sleep, without listening for his car, without watching his moods, without managing his reactions. Just sleep. Elena lay down on her brother's mattress. The ceiling was unfamiliar. The sounds were different. No climate control humming, no Bradley breathing beside her, no tension in her shoulders waiting for his mood to shift, waiting for the wrong word, the wrong expression, the wrong everything, just silence and safety, and her brother standing guard by the window. For the first time in 3 years, Elena slept through the night without nightmares. Timothy Ashford's office overlooked the river from the 17th floor. Floor-to-ceiling windows, leather chairs that probably cost more than Elena used to make in a month, original artwork on the walls, the kind of expensive that whispered instead of shouted. Old money, established power. Elena felt completely out of place in her Target maternity jeans and borrowed sweater from Ryan's closet. Her hair was pulled back in a messy ponytail. No makeup, no jewelry except her wedding ring. She kept touching it, twisting it. A nervous habit Bradley had always hated. Stop fidgeting, Elena, you look anxious. It makes you look weak. Ryan had insisted on coming. He sat beside her now in clothes that didn't quite fit his frame anymore. Too casual for a law office. Too military for civilian life. Like a wolf forced into a business meeting. Ready to attack if needed. Thank you for seeing me on such short notice, Elena began. Her default mode, apologetic, grateful, small. I know Jasmine said pro bono, but I should tell you up front that I have absolutely no way to pay you. I don't have access to any money. I don't even have... Stop. Timothy held up his hand. Mid-50s, gray at the temples, expensive suit, kind eyes behind designer glasses. Jasmine Parker's husband and I go back 20 years. He helped me through my own divorce. When he calls in a favor, I don't argue. I don't send a bill. I just help. He glanced at the file on his mahogany desk. Opened it. Besides, I'm familiar with the Morgan family. Taking them apart in court will be personally satisfying. I've wanted to nail Bradley Morgan for years. You're giving me the opportunity. You know Bradley? I know his type. Men who believe money exempts them from consequences. Men who view their wives as property they purchased. Men whose families protect them no matter what they've done. Timothy looked up, met her eyes. I'm very good at destroying those men in court. It's basically my specialty. Ryan leaned forward slightly. What are we looking at? Realistically? Assault charges are pending. That's criminal court, not my arena, but it helps your civil case tremendously. Timothy pulled out a legal pad, started writing. For the divorce, we're in a community property state. That works in your favor. Elena, when exactly did you marry Bradley Morgan? 3 years ago, August 15th. Did you sign a prenuptial agreement? Elena's stomach sank. She'd been dreading this question. Yes, his mother insisted. She had their family attorney draw it up. I didn't have my own lawyer review it. Bradley said it was just a formality, protection for his family's assets, that it didn't matter because we'd never divorce. Of course he said that. Timothy's expression didn't change, didn't judge, just noted. Do you have a copy of this prenuptial agreement? No, Bradley kept all our important documents in his safe. I don't have the combination. We'll subpoena it from his attorney. Standard procedure. Timothy made another note. What about employment? Were you working when you married Bradley? Yes, marketing director at Spectrum Solutions. $75,000 a year plus full benefits and stock options. Good salary, good position. And now? I quit 2 years ago. Elena felt shame creeping up her neck, hot and uncomfortable. Bradley suggested it, said the stress wasn't good for me, that we were trying for a baby and I should focus on that he made enough money for both of us, that I didn't need to work. Timothy wrote quickly, his pen scratching across paper. Did you receive any compensation for quitting? Severance package? Payment for your contributions to the household? Anything at all? Elena felt her face flush. No, nothing. Bradley said he'd take care of everything, that I didn't need to worry about money ever again, that worrying about money was his job now. Translation, he wanted complete financial control, make you entirely dependent on his goodwill and generosity. Timothy looked up. This is a textbook financial abuse pattern, Elena. Make the victim dependent. Eliminate their ability to leave. Convince them they're incapable of surviving independently. You're not the first woman I've seen in this exact situation. Financial abuse. Elena had never thought of it in those terms. Bradley was generous. Expensive gifts, unlimited credit cards for household expenses, anything she wanted within reason. As long as she asked permission first. As long as she could justify the expense. As long as she remembered that everything belonged to him. That she owned nothing. That she was nothing without him. The prenup might be voidable, Timothy continued. Did you have independent legal counsel when you signed it? Your own attorney reviewing the terms? No, Bradley said his lawyer was representing both of us, that it was simpler that way, less expensive, more efficient. Let me guess, he made it sound like having your own attorney meant you didn't trust him, didn't believe in the marriage, were being difficult. Timothy's voice was dry, clinical. He'd heard this story before. Elena nodded, felt stupid, naive. How had she not seen it then? How had she believed him? That's not legal representation. That's a massive conflict of interest. Timothy made another note. His handwriting was quick, precise. We can absolutely challenge the prenup's validity based on lack of independent counsel, especially given the full circumstances of your marriage and what came after. What circumstances? Elena asked. What came after? A wealthy, established man in his late 30s marries a younger woman with significantly less financial sophistication, systematically isolates her from her career and support system, maintains complete control over all marital assets, then escalates to physical violence when she attempts to assert any independence. Timothy's voice was clinical, professional, but his eyes were angry. Courts are increasingly reluctant to enforce prenuptial agreements that appear designed to facilitate abuse. Ryan spoke for the first time since they'd sat down. What does Elena walk away with in a best-case scenario? Half of everything acquired during the marriage, the house, investment accounts, his business interests, plus spousal support while she gets back on her feet, child support for the baby. All medical expenses related to the pregnancy and delivery, and she keeps whatever she brought into the marriage, though that sounds minimal. I didn't bring much, Elena admitted. Student loans I was still paying off, a used car that died 6 months after the wedding, some furniture from my apartment that Bradley threw away, said it didn't match his aesthetic. Then we focus on marital assets. Timothy pulled up something on his computer. Turned the monitor so Elena could see. I took the liberty of running some preliminary searches last night and after Jasmine called. Bradley Morgan's real estate development company is valued at approximately $42 million. The house you shared is worth $3.8 million. He has investment accounts totaling another $6 million, multiple vehicles, art collection, a yacht. We're talking significant assets. The numbers were too big. Elena couldn't process them. $42 million? She was entitled to half of that? $21 million for 3 years of marriage? It felt wrong, obscene, like she was the gold digger Bradley's family would inevitably paint her as. I don't want his money. Elena heard herself say it, meant it. I just want to be free. I want my baby to be safe. That's all I want. Then you're a better person than I am, Timothy said with a slight smile. But here's the thing, Elena. Bradley Morgan doesn't want you to be free. He wants you to come back. Apologize for embarrassing him. Accept that Saturday night was your fault. Return to being his perfectly controlled wife. And if you won't do that, he wants to destroy you as a warning to anyone else who might consider leaving. How do you know that, Elena asked. How can you possibly know what he wants? Because his mother has called me 4 times since 8 this morning. Threatening, cajoling, offering to settle everything quietly if you just drop the charges and come home, saying you're clearly unstable from the pregnancy, saying you need help, not a divorce. Timothy's expression hardened. I told her any communication should go through me as your attorney, that she's not to contact you directly under any circumstances, that her interference is being documented. Elena's blood went cold. You talked to Diane? Briefly, before I knew she was violating basic legal ethics. She'll try again, through mutual friends, through your old connections, through anyone she thinks might influence you. She'll want to make you feel guilty, selfish, unstable, like you're destroying a good man over nothing. She's very good at that. Elena's voice was barely a whisper, making me feel guilty, like everything is my fault. I'm sure she is. Women like Diane Morgan have spent their entire lives protecting men like Bradley, covering up their mistakes, smoothing over their violence, convincing themselves and everyone else that family reputation matters more than any individual person's safety. Timothy closed his laptop. She's not going to change. She's going to come at you with everything she has. You need to be ready for that. Ryan made a sound, low, dangerous. If she contacts Elena directly, we'll file for a restraining order. Absolutely. Timothy turned back to Elena. Now, immediate priorities. First, you need your own bank account. Today, this afternoon, I have a contact at First National Bank who'll set you up with an account Bradley can't access, freeze, or monitor. Start building financial independence immediately. I don't have any money to put in it, not a single dollar. You have whatever cash is in your wallet. That's enough to start. Every journey begins with a single step, even if it's a tiny one. Timothy pulled out another form. Second, you need to document everything, every bruise, every threat, every incident of controlling behavior. Every time he made you feel worthless. Write it all down. Dates if you can remember them. Times, details, everything. Elena's hands started shaking. There's a lot. Years worth. Good. The more evidence, the stronger our case. Timothy handed her a legal pad and an expensive pen. Take this home. Start writing tonight. Don't edit yourself. Don't minimize. Don't make excuses for him. Just document what happened, what he said, what he did, how it made you feel. I don't want to relive it all. It hurts too much. I know, but we need it. Bradley's attorneys will paint you as a vindictive woman seeking revenge. We need to show the court what you were actually surviving. Timothy leaned forward. Third item, we need to discuss the assault charges. The district attorney is moving forward with prosecution. You'll need to testify. Bradley's family will hire the absolute best criminal defense attorneys money can buy. They'll try to discredit you, paint you as emotionally unstable, a gold digger who trapped him with a pregnancy, a woman with mental health issues. I'm not any of those things. Elena's voice rose. I'm not. I know you're not. But that's what they'll say. That's what they always say. It's predictable, boring, increasingly ineffective when there are multiple credible witnesses. Timothy pulled out yet another file. 7 people gave detailed statements Saturday night, including Marcus Webb, the club manager, who has nothing to gain from lying, including Jasmine Parker, whose husband is more wealthy and connected than Bradley's family, including 3 other club members, including Service Soy, who witnessed his behavior throughout dinner. Elena didn't even remember most of dinner. She'd been so focused on monitoring Bradley's mood, reading his micro-expressions, calculating when to speak, when to smile, when to stay silent, when to touch his hand, when to pull away. An exhausting mental dance she'd perfected over 3 years. She'd stopped noticing what he actually said to her, stopped recognizing his casual cruelty as abnormal. I need you to understand something. Timothy's voice was gentle but firm. This is going to get worse before it gets better. Much worse. Bradley's family will hire investigators. They'll dig into your past, your relationships, your college years, any mistake you've ever made. They'll try to make you look like the villain in this story. What if they succeed? Elena whispered. What if everyone believes them? What if I lose everything? What if they take my baby? Ryan's hand covered hers, warm, solid, real. That's not going to happen. I won't let it happen. Timothy nodded. Your brother's right. We have video evidence. We have witnesses. We have a pattern of prior abuse with Bradley's ex-girlfriends. We have every advantage. You're not going to lose this, Elena. But you are going to have to fight harder than you've ever fought for anything. The baby kicked, hard, insistent, as if agreeing, As if saying yes, we fight, we survive, we win. Elena took the legal pad, the expensive pen, the card with Timothy's office number, cell number, and emergency line. What do I do next? She asked. Right now. Today. What's the next step? Timothy smiled, actually smiled. Next, you stop asking permission for everything. You're done performing for Bradley, done managing his moods, done making yourself smaller so he can feel bigger. You're done being his creation. Time to remember who you actually are. The call started at 2 in the morning. Elena's new phone buzzed on Ryan's coffee table. She'd bought it that afternoon. Her own plan, her own number. The first thing she'd owned outright in 3 years. It buzzed again. Unknown number. She ignored it, tried to go back to sleep. But it rang again, and again, and again. By the 5th call in 10 minutes, Ryan was awake. He grabbed the phone without asking, answered without speaking, just listened. His expression went dark, dangerous. The military operative emerging from underneath the tennis coach. If you call this number again, I'm contacting the police and filing charges for harassment and witness intimidation. He ended the call, blocked the number. Bradley's mother, Diane. What did she say? Elena's voice was small, afraid. Nothing worth repeating. Ryan's jaw was tight. Threats wrapped in concern. Manipulation disguised as love. The usual tactics of someone protecting an abuser. Nothing we haven't heard before. The phone rang again immediately, different number. Ryan answered this one too. His eyes met Elena's across the small apartment. He put it on speaker so she could hear. You have completely destroyed his reputation, a woman's voice said. Cultured, expensive education, barely contained rage. Diane Morgan's voice. His clients are calling to cancel contracts. The tennis club is talking about revoking his membership. His business partners are distancing themselves. Do you understand what you've done? Do you have any idea of the damage you've caused? The damage she's caused, Ryan's voice was perfectly calm, perfectly controlled. Your son assaulted a pregnant woman in front of 20 witnesses. The only person causing damage is Bradley. Elena is just refusing to cover it up anymore. Silence on the other end. Then, who is this? Where is Elena? I demand to speak with my daughter-in-law immediately. This is Ryan Cole, Elena's brother, also known as the man who filed an assault report against your son. Also the man who's been watching Bradley treat my sister like property he purchased for 3 weeks. Also the man who has absolutely no problem making sure everyone in this city knows exactly what kind of family you really are. You have no idea what you're dealing with, young man. Diane's voice shook with suppressed fury. My family built this city. We have connections you can't possibly imagine. Judges, politicians, law enforcement. The mayor himself is a family friend. You're making a terrible mistake threatening us. Delta Force, ma'am. Ryan's voice was ice, pure ice. I've dealt with warlords in Afghanistan, terrorists in Iraq, people who actually had power, real power, not just money and social connections and country club memberships. Your son is a spoiled bully with an expensive suit. Your family is built on reputation and enforced silence. I specialize in destroying both. Another pause, longer this time. You're threatening me. No, ma'am, I'm informing you of facts. Elena is under my protection now. Anyone who contacts her directly, anyone who threatens her, anyone who makes her feel unsafe in any way, they become my problem, and I solve problems very effectively, very permanently. Do we understand each other? The call ended abruptly. Diane had hung up. Elena stared at her brother. Did you just threaten Bradley's mother? Did you just threaten Diane Morgan? No. I gave her accurate information about the situation. There's a legal difference. Ryan's expression didn't change, didn't soften. She needed to understand that you're not alone anymore. Not unprotected, not an easy target. The phone rang again. Different number. Ryan didn't answer this time, just blocked it immediately. Then it rang again, and again, and again. 3 more calls in rapid succession, all from different numbers, all blocked without being answered. They're panicking, Ryan observed. Trembling, trying different approaches. That's good. Panic that people make mistakes, reveal their actual tactics, show their true faces. They're going to destroy me. Elena's voice cracked. Everything Timothy warned me about. They'll dig up every mistake I've ever made, every stupid thing I did in college, every relationship that ended badly. They'll make me look terrible, unstable, unfit to be a mother. Let them try. Ryan sat down on the floor across from her. Ellie, what's the worst thing you've ever actually done? Real, genuine bad behavior? Not things you feel guilty about? Not times you weren't perfect? Actual harmful actions? Elena thought, really thought. I cheated on a calculus test my sophomore year of college. Got drunk at a party and made out with my roommate's boyfriend. She forgave me, but it was a terrible thing to do. Ghosted a guy after 3 dates because I was too anxious to break up with him properly. That's really it. Nothing criminal. Nothing that hurt anyone permanently. Because you're fundamentally a good person, a normal person, someone who makes normal human mistakes. Ryan leaned forward. They're going to try to paint you as unstable, a gold digger, a liar, a manipulative woman who trapped Bradley with a pregnancy. None of it will be true. Everyone who actually knows you will see through it immediately. What if no one actually knows me anymore? Elena's throat was tight. I don't have friends, Ryan. Real friends. I haven't talked to anyone from college in years. My work friends stopped inviting me to things after I kept canceling to accommodate Bradley's schedule. Everyone in my phone is connected to Bradley somehow. His associates, his family, his world. Then you rebuild, make new friends, reconnect with old ones who actually cared about you. Ryan's expression softened slightly. And you're not as alone as you think. Jasmine Parker called Timothy's office 6 times today checking on you, wanting to make sure you're okay, wanting to know what she can do to help. Elena's head snapped up. What? 6 times? She wanted updates, wanted to know if you needed anything. Money, clothes, a place to stay, wanted to invite you to dinner next week, wanted to introduce you to other women who have been through similar situations. Ryan pulled out his own phone, showed Elena a text message. She sent me this an hour ago. The message read, tell Elena she's welcome at our house anytime. Day or night, no notice needed. She's not alone in this. None of us are. Elena felt tears burning behind her eyes. Someone cared. Someone who barely knew her actually cared enough to reach out, to offer help, to make sure she survived. The phone buzzed again. This time it was a text message, not blocked because it came from a number Elena recognized. Victoria Huang, her former best friend from college. Someone she hadn't spoken to in 2 years because Bradley said Victoria was too dramatic, too negative, too demanding of Elena's time and attention. The message said, saw the news about Bradley. Are you okay? Where are you? Can I help? Please call me. I've missed you so much. News. Elena grabbed Ryan's laptop from the coffee table, opened it, Googled Bradley Morgan assault with shaking hands. 5 articles came up, all from local news sites, all posted in the last 24 hours, and all with headlines that made Elena's stomach drop. Millionaire developer arrested for assault at exclusive tennis club. Bradley Morgan, heir to prominent real estate family, charged with assaulting pregnant wife. Witnesses describe disturbing pattern of control at Riverdale incident. Morgan family attorney calls charges baseless, claims misunderstanding. Sources say multiple former girlfriends filed restraining orders against Bradley Morgan. Elena's stomach turned. This is public. Everywhere, everyone knows. Yes. Ryan didn't look concerned, didn't look worried, which means Bradley and his family can't make it disappear quietly, can't settle it behind closed doors, can't pressure you into silence. Their perfect reputation just shattered very publicly. Elena clicked on the first article. Read it with a sick, disconnected feeling. The words were factual, dry, clinical, but the comments section was a completely different story. I've worked service industry in this city for years. Seen Bradley Morgan treat waitstaff like garbage. Not remotely surprised by this. His first serious girlfriend had a restraining order against him in college. Everyone knew, but nobody talked about it. Family paid her off. This is a pattern. Wealthy men think they can do whatever they want. Finally, someone's holding them accountable. Good for her for pressing charges. Too many women stay silent. But there were other comments too. Dozens of them, hundreds. She's clearly after his money. Convenient timing being 6 months pregnant. Women lie about abuse constantly to win custody and cash in divorces. Wait for his side of the story. This is a gold digger trying to destroy a good man. She probably provoked him. Pregnant women are insanely hormonal and irrational. I know the Morgan family. They're good people. This woman is making it all up. Elena closed the laptop. I can't read those. I can't see what people are saying about me. Then don't. Ryan took the computer away. Set it aside. Focus only on what you can control. Tomorrow you're meeting with Detective Grant to give your complete formal statement. Timothy's filing divorce papers first thing in the morning. You're going to your OB/GYN appointment to make sure the baby wasn't harmed. One step at a time, 1 hour at a time if necessary. The phone rang again. This time Elena recognized the number before Ryan could grab it. Her mother, Catherine Bennett. She hadn't spoken to her mother in 6 months. Bradley said her mother was too judgmental, too critical of their marriage, too negative. That visits with her were stressful and bad for the baby. That Elena should focus on their new family, not her dysfunctional old one. Elena answered before she could second-guess herself. Mom? Elena Marie Bennett. Her mother's voice cracked immediately. Raw emotion. I saw the news. I saw what happened. Why didn't you call me? How long has this been going on? Where are you right now? Are you safe? Is the baby safe? The dam broke completely. Elena sobbed. Great, shaking, body-racking sobs that she'd been holding back for 3 years. Her mother didn't try to fix it, didn't offer solutions, didn't minimize. Just talked steadily through the crying. Just stayed on the line. Just was there in the only way she could be at 2:30 in the morning. I'm sorry, Elena finally managed between gasps. I'm so sorry I disappeared. I'm sorry I stopped calling. I'm sorry I chose him over you. I'm sorry for everything. Stop apologizing right now. Her mother's voice was fierce, furious. You survived. That's all that matters. You survived, and now you're getting out. That's all I care about. Now tell me where you are. Give me the address. I'm getting in the car right now. Mom, it's almost 3 in the morning. You're 2 hours away. I don't care if it's 3 in the morning. I don't care if it's 3 in the afternoon. I don't care about anything except getting to my daughter. Her mother's voice broke. Tell me where you are, baby, please. Ryan took the phone gently. Hi, Mrs. Bennett. It's Ryan, Ryan Cole, Elena's brother. She's with me. She's safe. We're at my apartment in Riverside. He gave the address clearly, slowly. Come whenever you want. I'll put coffee on. I'll be awake. The door will be open. Elena's mother arrived exactly 1 hour and 47 minutes later. She must have broken every speed limit. Must have driven like the world was ending. She burst through Ryan's apartment door like a hurricane. Grabbed Elena, held her, cried, whispered fierce, protective things that mothers say when their children are hurting. Then she turned to Ryan, hugged him too, hard, long, held him like she'd thought she'd lost him forever. Thank you, Catherine whispered. Thank you for keeping her safe. Thank you for finding her. Thank you for being there when I couldn't be. I should have found her sooner. Ryan's voice was rough, guilty. I should have looked harder, should have known something was wrong when she went silent. You found her. That's what matters. Catherine pulled back, looked at both of them, her children, together again after so many years. You found her, and now she's not alone anymore. Now we fight together. Elena watched her mother and brother, the family she'd been systematically erased from, the people who'd been searching, waiting, hoping, never giving up completely even when she'd disappeared. She hadn't lost them. She'd been stolen from them, cut off, isolated. And now, slowly, painfully, she was finding her way home. Her phone buzzed one more time. Another text, this time from Bradley himself, his actual number. This is insane. You're being insane. Come home right now. We'll work this out privately, like adults. I love you. The baby needs a father. Don't throw away our family over a misunderstanding. Over nothing. A misunderstanding. He'd shoved his 6 months pregnant wife in front of 20 witnesses. In public, on camera, and he was calling it a misunderstanding, calling it nothing. Elena showed the text to Ryan and her mother. Save it, Ryan said immediately. Screenshot it, forward it to Timothy. Every text, every call, every message. All of it is evidence of harassment in witness intimidation. And don't respond, her mother added firmly. Don't engage with him at all. Don't give him any response he can twist or manipulate. Let your attorney handle all communication from now on. Elena opened her text thread with Bradley. 3 years of messages, 3 years of conversations, 3 years of her life compressed into digital data. She scrolled through quickly, saw the pattern she'd been blind to while living it. Where are you? Who are you with? Why aren't you answering? Send me a photo of where you are. You're embarrassing me. Don't wear that. You're being difficult. Fine, do whatever you want. See if I care. I'm sorry, baby. I didn't mean it. You know I love you. On and on. For 3 years, the cycle of control and apology, anger and love, criticism and reassurance. The pattern so clear now, so obvious. How had she not seen it? Elena deleted the entire text thread, then blocked Bradley's number, then blocked Diane's number, then Bradley's father, then his sister. One by one, she cut every thread connecting her to the Morgan family. Every digital tie, every point of contact. It felt like opening windows after years in a sealed, airless room. Frightening, exhilarating, terrifying, necessary, like breathing for the first time. The baby kicked, strong, insistent, alive and well and protected. You're going to be okay, Elena whispered to her belly, to the life growing inside her. We're both going to be okay, I promise. No matter what happens, no matter how hard this gets. We're going to be okay. For the first time in 3 years, she actually believed it. Detective Louise Grant's office smelled like burnt coffee, old paperwork, and determination. She was mid-40s, short practical haircut going gray at the temples, no makeup, no jewelry, sharp, intelligent eyes that had seen too much human cruelty and refused to look away. She gestured Elena to a chair across from a desk buried under case files and cold coffee cups. Ryan sat beside Elena, silent, supportive, a wall between his sister and the world. This conversation is being recorded, Detective Grant said. Not unkindly, matter of fact. I need you to tell me everything, not just what happened Saturday night at the club. Everything leading up to it. Take all the time you need. There's no rush, no pressure, just truth. Where did it even start, Elena wondered. When did normal courtship end and abuse begin? Where was the line? Bradley was incredibly charming when we first met, Elena began. Her voice sounded strange to her own ears, detached, clinical, like she was describing someone else's life. I was 26, working at Spectrum Solutions. He was 39, successful, confident. We met at a professional networking event. He singled me out immediately, made me feel like the only person in the room. Love bombing, Detective Grant murmured. Writing notes. Common pattern in abusive relationships. Continue. We dated for 6 months. It was perfect. Too perfect, looking back. Expensive dinners, weekend trips. He wanted to know everything about me, where I went, who I talked to, who I spent time with. At first it felt like genuine interest, like he cared. Then gradually it started feeling like surveillance, like interrogation. Elena's hands twisted in her lap. The baby pressed against her bladder. Uncomfortable. She needed to use the bathroom, but didn't want to interrupt. Didn't want to seem difficult. Stop. She could use the bathroom whenever she needed. She didn't need permission anymore. Excuse me, Elena said. I need to use the restroom. The baby is pressing on my bladder. Of course, down the hall. Second door on the left. Detective Grant smiled slightly. Take your time. I'm not going anywhere. When Elena returned, she felt steadier, more grounded, ready to continue. 6 months into dating, Bradley proposed. Big public proposal at an expensive restaurant. Everyone watching, everyone applauding. I said yes. I was happy. I thought I was the luckiest woman alive. Elena took a breath. His mother insisted on a prenuptial agreement before the wedding. Had their family attorney draw it up. I didn't have my own lawyer review it. Bradley said it was just protecting his family's business interests, that it didn't matter because we'd never divorce, that asking him to pay for my own attorney meant I didn't trust him. Coercion, Detective Grant noted. Continue. We got married, moved into his house. That's when everything changed. Elena's voice got quieter. Small things at first. He didn't like my work clothes, said they weren't appropriate for a woman married to someone in his position, bought me an entire new wardrobe. Professional, conservative, expensive. Things he chose. I thought it was thoughtful, generous. Now I see it was control. Detective Grant nodded but didn't interrupt. Then he started commenting on my friends, said they were too demanding of my time, too negative, too immature. Made it uncomfortable when they came over, made snide comments after they left. Eventually, they stopped calling, stopped inviting me places. I thought I was naturally growing apart from them, maturing. Now I understand I was being isolated. Classic abuse pattern, Detective Grant confirmed. Isolate the victim from support systems. Make them completely dependent. Continue. Then Bradley suggested I quit my job, said we were trying to get pregnant. That work stress wasn't good for conception, that he made more than enough money for both of us, that focusing on building our family should be my priority. Elena felt tears building, forced them back. I quit. I gave up my career, my income, my independence, my identity outside of being Bradley Morgan's wife. When did the physical abuse start? Elena swallowed hard. It wasn't abuse at first. That's what I told myself, just accidents. Just him not realizing his own strength. He'd grab my arm during arguments, squeeze too hard, leave bruises shaped like fingerprints. He said I bruised easily, that he'd barely touched me, that I was being dramatic. That's still assault and battery under the law, Detective Grant said flatly. The fact that you didn't recognize it as such doesn't change the legal reality. What else? Elena pulled up her sleeve, showed the faint yellow-green marks still visible on her upper arm. These are from 3 days before the tennis club incident. He grabbed me because I bought the wrong kind of coffee, said I wasn't paying attention, wasn't listening, wasn't being a good wife. Detective Grant stood, came around the desk, took detailed photographs of the bruises with a professional camera, multiple angles, with a ruler for scale. What else? Other incidents? Elena described the escalation, the way Bradley's anger had grown over 3 years, the way his grip got tighter, his voice colder, his criticism sharper, the way he'd back her into corners during fights, block doorways so she couldn't leave, make her feel trapped, hunted, afraid in her own home. She described the time he'd pushed her against the kitchen wall and held her there by the throat. Not strangling, just holding, just demonstrating that he could, that he was stronger, that she was helpless. 5 seconds that felt like forever. She'd been 3 months pregnant at the time. Did you call police after that incident? Detective Grant asked. No. He apologized immediately afterward, cried, actually cried, said the stress of impending fatherhood was overwhelming him, that he'd never hurt me again, that he loved me more than anything, that he needed help, needed me to be patient while he figured things out. Elena's voice broke. I believed him. God help me, I believed every word. Most victims do. On average, abuse victims return to their abusers 7 times before leaving permanently. The fact that you stayed doesn't make you weak, it makes you human. Detective Grant's voice was gentle, professional. Tell me about Saturday night, the tennis club incident. Elena walked through it, every detail, the dinner, Bradley's deteriorating mood as the evening progressed, her exhaustion, her swollen feet, the baby kicking, asking to leave early, his refusal, his anger, the champagne glass, the grip on her arm, the shove. 7 witnesses gave detailed, consistent statements, Detective Grant said when Elena finished, all describing what you just described, plus the tennis club has comprehensive security camera footage. We have the entire incident on video, high-quality color video with sound. There's video? Elena hadn't known, hadn't thought about it. Crystal clear video. Bradley's attorney is already trying to have it suppressed as evidence. Won't work. It's security footage from a private establishment. Completely admissible in court. Detective Grant leaned back. Elena, I'm going to be very direct with you. This case is exceptionally strong. Multiple credible witnesses, video evidence, your brother's testimony as an intervening party, the pattern of prior restraining orders filed by Bradley's ex-girlfriends. Bradley Morgan is going to jail. Elena's breath caught. Jail? Actually jail? Assault on a pregnant woman is taken extremely seriously by prosecutors and juries. Add in the pattern of prior behavior, his family's attempts to interfere with the investigation, the public nature of the attack. Detective Grant nodded. He's looking at a minimum of 1 year, possibly 3 to 5 depending on how the trial goes and what other evidence emerges. 1 year. Elena should have felt relief, should have felt vindicated. Instead, she felt terrified. His family will never forgive me. They'll destroy me. His family enabled a serial abuser. They covered up his prior assaults. They paid off previous victims. They're complicit in his behavior. Their forgiveness is not something you need or want. Detective Grant pulled out another form. Now I need to ask you something difficult, something personal. Has Bradley ever been sexually violent? Coerced you into sexual activity? Forced sex when you didn't want it? Anything that made you feel unsafe during intimate moments? Elena's throat closed. She hadn't thought about it in those terms, hadn't let herself examine that part of their marriage. But there were nights, many nights, when she'd been too tired, or upset, or stressed, or sick, or just not in the mood. And Bradley had pushed, pressured, guilted, made her feel like withholding sex was cruel, selfish, a violation of her marital duties, made her feel like her body belonged to him, that saying no wasn't really an option. I don't know if it counts as violence, Elena whispered. I didn't say no, not directly, not explicitly. Did you say yes, enthusiastically, without pressure or guilt or fear of consequences? Silence, long, heavy, damning silence. That counts, Detective Grant said gently. It's extremely difficult to prosecute, nearly impossible to prove beyond reasonable doubt, but it counts as part of the pattern. And you need to know that what he did to you was wrong, that your body belongs to you, that consent under coercion isn't real consent. Elena nodded, couldn't speak, couldn't look up. The baby kicked hard, like anger, like agreement, like a tiny person saying never again, not us, not ever. After the formal statement was complete, Detective Grant walked Elena and Ryan out to the parking lot. Gray morning, rain threatening. The world felt heavy, oppressive. One more thing, the detective said at the car. Bradley has been calling here repeatedly, leaving voicemails, asking about you, asking when you're planning to drop the charges, asking how he can contact you, asking what he needs to do to fix this. What did you tell him? Elena asked. Nothing. He's represented by counsel. All communication goes through his attorney. But I need you to know he's actively trying to reach you, trying to control the narrative, trying to manipulate the situation. Detective Grant handed Elena another business card. If he contacts you directly through any means, if he shows up anywhere you are, if you feel unsafe for any reason at all, you call me immediately, day or night. We'll arrest him for witness intimidation and attempting to violate the restraining order. There's a restraining order? Elena hadn't known. Emergency protective order issued Sunday morning. He's not allowed within 500 feet of you. Can't contact you directly or through intermediaries. Violations mean immediate arrest and bail revocation. Detective Grant's expression was firm. You're protected by law. Now, use that protection. Ryan drove Elena to her OB/GYN appointment. Dr. Rachel Morrison was warm, efficient. She did an ultrasound while Elena stared at the ceiling and tried not to cry. Everything looks perfect, Dr. Morrison said after a thorough examination. Baby's heartbeat is strong. Growth is exactly on track for 26 weeks. No signs of distress from Saturday's incident. No placental issues. No indication of premature labor. You did everything right. Protected your stomach. sought help immediately. You and this baby are going to be fine. Really? Elena's voice shook. You're sure? Really, I'm sure. Babies are remarkably resilient in utero, protected by amniotic fluid in your body. You shielded the impact. The baby is safe. Dr. Morrison squeezed Elena's hand. I saw the news reports. What you're doing takes incredible courage. Most women never press charges, never leave. You're breaking a cycle. It doesn't feel courageous. It feels like barely surviving, like stumbling through darkness. That's exactly what courage looks like. It's not fearlessness. It's being absolutely terrified and doing the right thing anyway. Dr. Morrison pulled up Elena's chart on the computer. Now let's talk about delivery. You're due in 14 weeks. Who's going to be your support person in the delivery room? Elena hadn't thought that far ahead. Bradley was supposed to be there. They'd taken birthing classes together, practiced breathing exercises, toured the maternity ward, made a birth plan. All of that was gone now. Meaningless. My brother, Elena said, Ryan, he'll be there. Good. Bring him to the next appointment. We'll go over birth plan options, pain management, what to expect, how he can best support you. Dr. Morrison smiled. You're going to get through this, Elena. You and this baby are going to be just fine. Better than fine. You're going to be free. On the drive back to Ryan's apartment, Elena's phone rang. Timothy Ashford. Divorce papers were served to Bradley 1 hour ago, Timothy said without preamble. Professional, efficient. His attorney called me immediately. They want to meet, discuss settlement options. They're panicking. Already? It's only been 2 days. They know the assault case is strong. They know the publicity is devastating their reputation. They know Bradley's business is suffering. Clients are pulling contracts. Partners are distancing themselves. The tennis club officially revoked his membership this morning. They want this resolved quietly and quickly before more damage occurs. Timothy's voice held deep satisfaction, which means we have significant leverage for negotiations. What kind of settlement are they offering? That's what we need to discuss. Are you available to come to my office tomorrow morning? Bring your brother. We'll strategize our response together. After Elena hung up, she looked at Ryan in the driver's seat. They want to settle already before the divorce even really starts. Of course they do. Their golden boy's reputation is destroyed. Their perfect family is under public scrutiny. Bradley's business is imploding. They want you to quietly go away, take some money, sign a non-disclosure agreement, disappear. Ryan's jaw tightened. Don't let them. I don't want their money. I just want to be left alone. I want to be free. Then we make freedom expensive. We make them pay for every moment of abuse they enabled, every time they covered for Bradley. Every woman before you they paid off and silenced. Ryan's eyes were hard, cold. You're not just fighting for yourself anymore, Ellie. You're fighting for everyone Bradley hurt. Everyone he might hurt in the future if someone doesn't stop him. The baby kicked again, strong, determined, a tiny person who deserved better than a father who saw violence as acceptable, who deserved a mother strong enough to walk away, strong enough to fight. Okay, Elena said, let's fight. Bradley's attorney made the first settlement offer 3 days later. Timothy Ashford read it aloud in his office with something between disgust and dark amusement in his voice. $2 million, full custody to Bradley. Elena would have supervised visitation every other weekend. She signs a comprehensive non-disclosure agreement, never speaks about the marriage publicly, never discusses the assault, never grants interviews. Essentially disappears quietly from Bradley's life and reputation. He tossed the papers across his mahogany desk. They're completely insane. $2 million and they take your baby? After Bradley assaulted you on camera with 20 witnesses? After 3 prior restraining orders? This is insulting. Elena stared at the papers. $2 million. More money than she'd ever imagined having. Enough to start over anywhere. Never worry about bills again. Give her baby everything, Tim. Security, education, opportunities, except a mother. Tell me you're not even remotely considering this, Timothy said, his voice sharp, alert, reading her face. I'm not, Elena said, but her voice wasn't as firm as she wanted it to be. O sea, $2 million would solve everything. She could disappear, move to another state, start completely fresh, never have to face Bradley again, never have to testify, never have to relive the abuse publicly. The baby would grow up wealthy, privileged, want for nothing material, except they'd grow up without their mother. Raised by a man who'd shoved her while pregnant, taught that violence was acceptable, that control was love, that money solved everything. They're betting on your fear, Timothy continued, his voice gentler now, betting that you'll believe you can't win against the Morgan family resources, that you'll take whatever they offer just to make the nightmare stop, that you'll convince yourself 2 million is generous, fair, more than you deserve. Can I actually win against them? Elena's hands twisted in her lap, the familiar anxious gesture. Really? They have unlimited money, unlimited resources, unlimited connections. I have a brother living paycheck to paycheck and an attorney working pro bono. How is that a fair fight? You have 7 eyewitnesses who watched Bradley assault you. You have high-definition security camera footage. You have a decorated Delta Force veteran who intervened. You have a detective who personally hates wealthy men who abuse women. You have a district attorney up for re-election who would love the publicity from successfully prosecuting a Morgan. Timothy leaned forward. And you have me. I've been destroying men like Bradley Morgan in courtrooms for 20 years. This is literally what I do best. Ryan spoke from his position by the window. What should we counter with? Everything. Timothy pulled out a fresh legal tome, started writing. Full custody to Elena. Bradley gets supervised visitation only, pending completion of court-mandated anger management programs and parenting classes. Elena gets the house or equivalent value in cash, half of all marital assets, spousal support for 5 years while she rebuilds her career, full medical expenses for pregnancy, delivery, and postpartum care. Elena retains all future earnings from employment, no non-disclosure agreement whatsoever. She can speak freely about her experiences. He looked up. And Bradley pays all attorney fees for both sides. They'll never accept that, Elena said, her voice small, defeated before even trying. They'll negotiate. We'll end up somewhere in the middle. But we start high. We demand everything. Timothy's expression was firm. Elena, listen to me carefully. This isn't just about money. This is about power, control. They want you to feel grateful for whatever crumbs they toss your direction. We're going to make them understand that you're not begging. You're demanding what you're legally and morally entitled to. Elena's phone buzzed. Unknown number. Again. They'd been coming constantly for 3 days now. Different numbers, sometimes 20 or 30 calls per day, text messages, emails, all saying the same things. Come home. Stop being difficult. Think about the baby. You're making a mistake. You'll regret this. Timothy noticed. How bad is the harassment? Constant, maybe 30 or 40 calls and texts per day. Different numbers every time. Most of it is Bradley's family. His mother, his sister, his father. Sometimes Bradley himself from borrowed phones. Some of it is people I don't even know. Friends of the family, business associates, the country club members, all telling me I'm destroying a good man over nothing. Save everything, screenshot every text, forward every voicemail to me. Document every single contact. Timothy made notes. This is witness intimidation, harassment. It all builds the case that Bradley and his family think they're above the law. Does saying you'll regret this count as a threat? Elena asked. Absolutely yes. Any statement implying negative consequences for pursuing legal action is witness intimidation under state law. Timothy looked at Ryan. Has she been staying with you this entire time? Every night. I don't let her go anywhere alone. I'm with her or our mother is. Ryan's expression was grim, dark. Bradley showed up at my apartment building 2 days ago, Tuesday afternoon. Waited in the parking lot by my car. Just sitting there, watching. I called police immediately. He left before they arrived. But he was there, violating the restraining order. Elena's head snapped toward her brother. What? You didn't tell me that happened. Didn't want to scare you. Didn't want to add more stress while you're pregnant. But you need to know now. Ryan's voice was gentle, apologetic. He's escalating, getting desperate, making increasingly poor decisions. That's when men like Bradley become most dangerous, when they're losing control. Timothy nodded slowly, seriously. We need to file for an extended restraining order immediately. Today. No contact whatsoever. No proximity. No intermediaries. Violations mean immediate arrest and bail revocation. Won't that make him angrier? Elena asked. Won't that make everything worse? Probably, but your safety matters infinitely more than his feelings. Timothy started pulling up forms on his computer. Ryan, can she continue staying with you long term? Or do we need to arrange alternative housing? She can stay as long as she needs, forever if necessary. Ryan's tone left absolutely no room for argument, but long-term she'll want her own place, her own space, her own home. Agreed, which means we need to resolve the housing situation quickly. Timothy pulled up property records, turned his monitor so Elena could see. The house you shared with Bradley is valued at $3.8 million, purchased 18 months into your marriage. Your name isn't on the deed. Bradley said it was cleaner for tax purposes, simpler, more efficient, that putting my name on the deed was unnecessary paperwork. Elena felt stupid saying it out loud. Naive, gullible, classic financial control tactic. But the house is still marital property under state law. You're entitled to half its current value. Timothy made more notes. Ideally, you'd keep the house. Raise the baby there in a familiar, stable environment. I can't afford the mortgage on that house. The property taxes alone are $20,000 a year. The maintenance, the utilities, the gardening service, the cleaning service. Elena's voice rose slightly, panic creeping in. I don't even have a job. I have $63 in my bank account. Then we sell the house, split the proceeds. You buy something smaller and more manageable. Or Bradley buys out your half, pays you $1.9 million in cash, keeps the house for himself. Timothy looked up. Either way, you walk away with significant resources to rebuild your life. He'll never agree to any of this. Let me worry about what Bradley will agree to. That's my job, not yours. Timothy's smile was sharp, predatory. His attorney has called me 6 times since yesterday. They're panicking. The assault trial date is officially set. Media interest is growing. Every day this drags on publicly, Bradley's reputation takes more damage. His business suffers more losses. The Morgan family social standing erodes further. Elena's phone buzzed again. This time she recognized the number. Jasmine Parker. She answered. Elena, thank God you picked up. Jasmine sounded breathless. Urgent. Are you watching the news right now? Channel 7? No, why? What's happening? Bradley gave an interview. It's airing live right now. You need to see this immediately. Timothy already had his television on, turned to Channel 7. Elena watched in growing horror as Bradley Morgan sat across from a sympathetic female news anchor. He looked haggard, humble, remorseful, wearing a simple navy sweater instead of his usual expensive suits, calculated to seem relatable, vulnerable, human. I made a terrible mistake, Bradley was saying, his voice soft, pained. I was under enormous stress. The business was facing challenges. Impending fatherhood was overwhelming me. I handled a difficult situation very poorly. I regret that deeply. Your wife filed criminal assault charges against you, the anchor prompted gently, sympathetically. Multiple witnesses say they saw you push her. What do you say to those allegations? I understand completely why Elena is upset. What happened at the club was unfortunate, regrettable, but I think there's been significant misunderstanding about the severity of the incident. I barely touched her. She stumbled because of her heels and her pregnancy balance issues. I tried to steady her, tried to catch her. The video footage is being taken completely out of context by people with agendas. Elena's hands clenched into fists. He's lying. That's not what happened. That's not even close to what happened. He's establishing a defense narrative, Timothy said grimly, minimizing his actions, explaining them away, making himself the sympathetic victim of misunderstanding and vindictive accusers. Classic PR damage control. On screen, Bradley continued, I love my wife deeply. I love our unborn child more than anything in this world. I want us to be a family. I'm willing to do absolutely whatever it takes to make this right. Counseling, anger management programs, therapy, whatever Elena needs to feel safe and comfortable. I just want my family back. But she's moved out of your home, filed for divorce, sought a restraining order against you. I think Elena has been influenced by certain people who don't have her best interests at heart. Her brother, who appeared out of nowhere after 8 years of no contact. He has significant documented mental health issues from military service. Friends Elena recently reconnected with, who never liked me, who resented our relationship from the beginning. Bradley looked directly at the camera, directly at viewers. Elena, if you're watching this right now, please know that I love you. Please come home. Let's talk privately like adults. Work this out for our baby's sake. Our child deserves to have both parents. The interview ended. Elena felt physically sick, nauseous. He sounds so reasonable, so concerned, so victimized. That's the entire point. Timothy turned off the television. He's fighting back publicly, trying to control the narrative before trial, paint himself as the caring, stressed husband, make you look irrational, vindictive, under bad influences. Classic abuse tactic. Darvo. Deny, attack, reverse victim and offender. Will it work? Will people believe him? Not with the video evidence. Not with 7 credible witnesses. Not with the restraining orders from his ex-girlfriends. But it will influence some public opinion, make some people sympathetic to him, create doubt. Timothy's expression was calculating, strategic, which is exactly why we need to get ahead of this. You need to tell your story publicly, in your own words. What? Elena's stomach dropped. No, absolutely not. I can't go on television. Not television necessarily, but you need to speak. Write an editorial, give a statement, something in your own words that tells the actual truth. Not just the assault, the years of control, the isolation, the systematic financial abuse, the pattern. Timothy pulled up something on his computer. I have contacts at several major newspapers. The Washington Post, the New York Times. They would run your story, protect your identity if you prefer, or use your real name and put an actual face to the issue. I can't. Elena's voice shook. I can't put all that out publicly. Everyone will know. Everyone will judge me. Everyone will see how weak I was, how long I stayed, how I let him control me. Or everyone will see how strong you are, how brave, how you survived impossible circumstances and found the courage to leave. Timothy leaned forward. Right now, Bradley controls the narrative entirely. He's sympathetic, remorseful, working on himself. You're the angry, unreasonable wife who won't forgive one mistake. You need to correct that perception. Show people the truth. Ryan spoke quietly from the corner. It's your choice, Ellie. Completely your choice. No pressure from us. But he's right. Bradley is rewriting history right now, making this about a single bad moment instead of years of abuse. Only you can tell the real story. Elena closed her eyes, imagined her story in print. All the private humiliations made public. Every moment of weakness exposed. Every mistake documented. Everyone knowing exactly how small and scared she'd become. But they'd also know the truth. They'd understand. Maybe they'd believe her. I'll think about it, Elena finally said, but I'm not promising anything. After the meeting, Ryan drove Elena somewhere unexpected. A women's shelter on the south edge of the city. Not for Elena to stay, just to visit. Why are we here? Elena asked, confused, nervous. Because you need to see something important, something I think will help. Ryan opened her car door, helped her out. Trust me, please. Inside, a support group was meeting in a large common room. 15 women sitting in a circle, various ages, various backgrounds, various ethnicities, and all survivors of domestic violence. The facilitator welcomed Elena warmly. We heard about your case on the news, about what you're going through. Would you like to sit with us? Just listen if you prefer, or share if you feel comfortable. Elena sat, listened to other women's stories, Stories that echoed her own with eerie similarity. The charm at the beginning, the slow, gradual isolation, the escalating control, the financial abuse, the moment they finally left. "What made you finally go?" Elena asked one woman. Older, confident, obviously healed. "After everything, what was the final moment?" "My 6-year-old daughter asked why Daddy yelled at me all the time, why I cried in the bathroom, why I flinched when his car pulled into the driveway." The woman's voice was steady, strong. "I realized she was learning that this was love, that this was marriage, that this was normal. I left that night with nothing but my kids and the clothes we were wearing." Another woman spoke, younger, scars visible on her arms. "I almost didn't survive my final night with him. He put me in the hospital. Broken ribs, fractured skull, internal bleeding. I'd stayed for 11 years, made excuses, believed he'd change, believed I could fix him with enough love." She looked directly at Elena. "You got out while you still could, while you're still alive. That's incredibly brave." Elena shook her head. "I don't feel brave. I feel terrified every single moment." "That's exactly what bravery looks like," the facilitator said gently. "It's not the absence of fear. It's being absolutely terrified and doing the right thing any day. You're leaving while pregnant, while financially dependent, while his family has tremendous power and resources. That's harder than most people can possibly understand." After the meeting, several women gave Elena their phone numbers, offered support, shared resources, reminded her she wasn't alone in this, that millions of women understood exactly what she was experiencing. In the car afterward, Elena looked at Ryan. "Thank you for bringing me here, for making me see. You needed to understand something important." Ryan started the car. "You're not special in a bad way. You're special in a good way. You're one of thousands, millions, women who survive impossible situations, women who rebuild their lives from nothing, women who discover they're stronger than they ever imagined possible." Elena's phone buzzed. Timothy Ashford calling. "They've countered our counter," he said without preamble. $5 million, joint legal custody with primary physical custody to you. Bradley gets unsupervised visitation. You drop the criminal assault charges. Non-disclosure agreement still required, but less restrictive. What should we do?" "We counter back again. Hold firm on supervised visitation. No NDA. Full custody. And Elena?" Timothy paused. "Start writing your story. I think the world needs to hear it. I think you need to tell it." That night, Elena sat at Ryan's small kitchen table, opened her laptop, stared at the blank screen for a long time. Then she started typing. "I married a millionaire. He almost destroyed me." The words poured out. 3 years of silence breaking open. 3 years of secrets spilling onto the page. 3 years of pain finally given voice. She wrote until 3 in the morning, until her hands cramped, until her eyes burned, until the truth was finally completely devastatingly told. Elena's story appeared in the Washington Post 3 days later, not under her real name. She wasn't ready for that level of exposure yet. But her words, her truth, her story told in her own voice for the first time. The headline was simple, direct, powerful. "I married a millionaire. He almost destroyed me," by Anonymous. The article detailed everything: the whirlwind courtship, the systematic isolation, the financial control, the escalating emotional abuse, the physical violence, the assault at the tennis club, the system that protected wealthy abusers, the difficulty of leaving, the cost of staying. It went viral within 2 hours of publication. Elena watched the response from Ryan's apartment, sitting on his couch, laptop open, phone buzzing constantly, thousands of shares on social media, thousands of comments, thousands of people reading her words, her pain, her truth. Most responses were supportive, encouraging, validating. "This is every woman I know. Every friend who disappeared into marriage. Millionaires think they're above the law. Finally, some real accountability. My ex did exactly these same things. Exactly. I thought I was the only one. Thank you for speaking up. You probably just saved someone's life." But some responses were vicious. Cruel. Exactly what she'd feared. Obviously lying for money. Classic gold digger behavior. She's trying to destroy this man's life over nothing. Women do this constantly. Pregnancy hormones make women insane. She's probably imagining half of it. I know the Morgan family personally. They're good people. This woman is clearly disturbed. Elena closed the laptop. I can't read those. I can't see what strangers are saying about me. Then don't, Ryan said gently. Focus only on the people who matter, the people who actually know you, the people who believe you. Bradley's response came through his attorney by noon, a formal cease and desist letter, threats of defamation lawsuits, demands that she immediately retract the article and issue a public apology, claims that she'd violated the non-disclosure agreement in their prenuptial agreement. Timothy Ashford laughed when he read it over the phone. Actually laughed. This is perfect. He just confirmed everything you wrote. If the article were false, he'd ignore it. Instead, he's threatening legal action, which shows consciousness of guilt. We're absolutely not retracting anything. This letter actually helps our case. But the real bombshell dropped at 2 in the afternoon. One of Bradley's ex-girlfriends came forward publicly, Amanda Richardson, the one who'd filed a restraining order 5 years earlier. Her non-disclosure agreement had expired after 5 years. She was finally free to speak. She gave an interview to the same Washington Post reporter who'd published Elena's story, described similar patterns, similar control, similar violence, similar tactics by Bradley's family to silence her. Then a second ex-girlfriend came forward, Jessica Martinez. Then a third, Catherine Wright. By evening, 7 women total had contacted Timothy's office, all with stories about Bradley Morgan, all with evidence, text messages, emails, photographs of bruises, medical records, all willing to testify if necessary. This is bigger than just your divorce case now, Timothy told Elena over the phone, his voice humming with energy, professional satisfaction. This is a pattern, a history. Bradley Morgan isn't a stressed man who made one isolated mistake. He's a serial abuser whose family has been covering for him systematically for over a decade. Elena felt dizzy, overwhelmed. 7 women? 7 that we know of? 7 willing to come forward publicly. There are probably many more who are still too afraid, still silenced by NDAs, still threatened by the Morgan family resources. Timothy's voice was grim. The district attorney wants to meet with all of you. Build a comprehensive criminal case. Not just for your assault, for everything. Pattern of behavior. Potentially even RICO charges against the family for conspiracy to obstruct justice. That night, Elena couldn't sleep. She stood in Ryan's small kitchen at 2 in the morning, drinking chamomile tea, staring at nothing, thinking about 7 women, 7 lives Bradley had damaged, 7 stories of survival. Ryan appeared in the doorway, silent, watching. Can't sleep? 7 women, Ryan. 7 that I know about now. How many more didn't come forward? How many more are still trapped? Still suffering? Still too scared to speak? Elena's voice broke. I could have stopped this earlier. If I'd reported him sooner. If I'd pressed charges the first time he grabbed me. No. Ryan's voice was sharp, firm. Stop that right now. You're not responsible for his violence. Only he is. Only Bradley. You survived. That's the only thing that matters. You survived, and now you are fighting back. But those other women survived too, and now they're speaking up because you spoke first. You gave them permission, courage, hope. You showed them that it's possible to fight back against money and power. Ryan moved closer. You're not a villain in this story, Ellie. You're a hero, even if you don't feel like one yet. The baby kicked, hard, strong, insistent, a reminder of what she was fighting for, who she was protecting. I'm scared, Elena whispered. What if I'm not strong enough for this? What if I break under cross-examination? What if Bradley wins anyway despite everything? He's already lost. He just doesn't know it yet. Ryan's expression was absolutely certain. You walked away. You told the truth. 7 more women found their voices because of you. His reputation is destroyed. His business is failing. His family's influence is crumbling. You did all of that. The next morning, Elena met with the district attorney. Catherine Walsh's office was intimidating, powerful, floor-to-ceiling law books, framed degrees and awards, photos with governors and senators. This was a woman who won cases, who destroyed powerful defendants, who didn't lose. With 7 victims willing to testify, we can demonstrate a clear pattern, Catherine explained. Professional, sharp, predatory behavior over more than a decade, escalating violence, family complicity in covering up crimes. This is no longer a simple assault case. This is potentially racketeering, conspiracy, witness intimidation, obstruction of justice. What does that actually mean? Elena asked. In practical terms? It means Bradley Morgan is looking at serious prison time. Not months, years, possibly 5 to 10 years depending on what else we uncover and how the jury responds. Catherine pulled out thick files. But I need you to understand something very clearly. This will be a long, difficult trial, very public. Bradley's defense attorneys will attack every woman who testifies. They'll try to discredit all of you, make you look like liars, gold diggers, vindictive exes with axes to grind. We're ready, said one of the other women sitting at the long conference table. Rebecca Thompson. She dated Bradley 7 years ago. We've been silent for too long. We're done protecting him. I have something else that might help, said another woman. Michelle Anderson. Audio recordings. Bradley didn't know I was recording our arguments. I have hours of audio files. Him threatening me, calling me terrible names, admitting he'd hit his previous girlfriend, saying his family would destroy me if I ever told anyone. Catherine's eyes lit up with prosecutorial hunger. Those recordings are potentially admissible evidence. That's extremely powerful material for trial. Elena looked around the table. 7 women, 7 stories, 7 pieces of the same terrible pattern. None of them had caused Bradley's violence. But together, maybe they could finally stop it. What about his family? Elena asked. They've been calling constantly, threatening witnesses, trying to intimidate people into silence. We're building a case against them too. Obstruction of justice, witness tampering, conspiracy. The Morgan family's systematic protection of Bradley enabled his behavior for years. They're not innocent bystanders. They're co-conspirators. Catherine's expression was hard, unforgiving. Old money doesn't protect anyone from criminal charges. They're learning that lesson the hard way. After the meeting, Elena stood outside the district attorney's office. 7 other women beside her, strangers connected by trauma, by survival, by determination to ensure Bradley never hurt anyone else. Thank you, Elena said to them, to all of them, for coming forward, for being brave, for standing with me. You were brave first, Rebecca replied quietly. You spoke up when you had the most to lose. We just followed your lead. Elena drove back to Ryan's apartment with her mother, who'd started staying there too, sleeping on the couch, helping with everything. Being the support Elena had needed for years. Her mother had seen the article, had cried reading it, had called Elena immediately. Why didn't you tell me it was that bad? Catherine asked now, her voice thick with emotion. Guilt. Why didn't you let me help? I didn't want you to worry, didn't want you to feel guilty for not noticing. I was good at hiding it. Elena's voice was quiet, sad. And I was ashamed. I thought I should have been stronger, should have left sooner, should have never gotten into that situation in the first place. Elena Marie Bennett. Her mother's voice was fierce, forceful. You survived years of systematic abuse from a wealthy, powerful man whose entire family protected him. You didn't just survive. You're fighting back now. You're helping other women. You're creating a safer world for your baby. There is absolutely zero shame in any of that. Elena's throat closed, tears burning. I'm 6 months pregnant, living on my brother's floor, fighting a legal battle that might bankrupt me, facing a trial that will expose every private moment. How is any of this better than just staying? Because you're free. Her mother's voice softened, gentled. Because your baby will grow up watching their mother choose dignity over comfort, watching their mother fight for what's right even when it's impossibly hard. That's the best inheritance you can possibly give them. Not money, not security, courage. That night, Elena started writing again. Not for publication this time, just for herself, documenting everything, every memory, every moment, every realization. She wrote about the first time Bradley criticized her clothing, the way she'd immediately changed, the way that small compliance had opened the door to progressively bigger ones. She wrote about losing her job, how it had felt like freedom initially, then isolation, then imprisonment. She wrote about the pregnancy, how joy had mixed with terror, how Bradley's control had intensified, how she'd known somewhere deep that bringing a baby into that environment was wrong, but felt powerless to change it. She wrote about the shove, the public humiliation that had finally shattered her denial, the moment she'd stopped making excuses. She wrote about Ryan, her guardian angel in tennis whites, the brother who'd never stopped searching for her. She wrote about the 7 other women, the community of survivors who'd shown her she wasn't alone, wasn't broken, wasn't weak. By 3 in the morning, Elena had filled 30 pages. Her hand ached, her eyes burned, her back hurt from hunching over the laptop. But she felt lighter, clearer, stronger. The truth had power, speaking it, writing it, sharing it, owning it completely. The baby kicked one more time. Elena's hand went to her belly automatically. A habit now, a connection. "We're going to be okay," she whispered into the darkness. "I promise you. Whatever happens, however hard this gets, we're going to be okay." And for the first time in 3 years, she believed it absolutely. Bradley's family crumbled faster than anyone expected. Diane Morgan resigned from 3 prestigious charity boards. Bradley's father lost 2 major business contracts when partners suddenly backed out. His sister's engagement was quietly called off. The Morgan family name, once synonymous with prestige and success, became synonymous with scandal and abuse. And Bradley's final settlement offer reflected their complete desperation. $8 million, full custody to Elena. Bradley would have supervised visitation only, no non-disclosure agreement whatsoever. Elena could speak freely about her experiences whenever she chose. Bradley would pay all attorney fees for both sides, admit no criminal wrongdoing, but accept full responsibility for the assault in civil court. Timothy Ashford presented the offer with barely contained satisfaction. "This is total capitulation, complete surrender. They're trying to minimize the criminal case by demonstrating Bradley's supposed remorse through an extremely generous divorce settlement." "Will it work?" Elena asked. "Will it help him in the criminal trial?" "Not with Catherine Walsh. The district attorney doesn't care about civil settlements. She wants criminal prosecution. She wants Bradley Morgan in prison." Timothy leaned back in his expensive chair. "But this settlement does give you complete financial security, freedom to rebuild your life however you choose, independence forever." "What do I actually want?" Elena asked quietly. More to herself than to Timothy or Ryan. What did she want? She'd been so focused on surviving, on escaping, on protecting her baby. She hadn't thought beyond that, hadn't imagined what life after Bradley might actually look like. "I want a house," Elena said slowly, the words coming as she spoke them, figuring it out in real time. "Not the house I shared with Bradley. That place has too many terrible memories. But a house, something that's mine, where I can raise my baby, where we'll actually be safe." "8 million will buy a very nice house," Timothy said with a slight smile. "What else?" "I want child support. Not for me, for the baby, for everything they'll need growing up. Education, medical care, opportunities, security." Elena's voice grew stronger, more certain. "And I want Bradley to complete serious anger management, real therapy, domestic violence counseling, supervised visitation until the baby is at least 5 years old. Then we reevaluate based on his actual progress." Reasonable demands. They'll almost certainly agree to all of that. Timothy made notes. "Anything else?" "I want an apology. A real one. Public, specific, not vague statements about mistakes being made. I want him to say explicitly that he abused his wife, that he was wrong, that he's sorry." Elena looked up, met Timothy's eyes. "Can we actually demand that?" "We can try. They may refuse. Public admissions of abuse could complicate his criminal defense. Timothy's expression was calculating, strategic. But we can make it part of the settlement terms. If he wants this deal, he makes the statement. If he refuses, we go to full trial on everything. Ryan spoke from his position in the corner. What about his family? Diane's harassment, the constant attempts to intimidate Elena. We want permanent restraining orders. Diane, Bradley's father, his sister. None of them contact Elena directly ever again. No phone calls, no emails, no social media, no intermediaries. Violations mean immediate arrest and the entire settlement is voided. Timothy's smile was sharp, dangerous. Make them understand there are permanent consequences for their behavior. The counter-settlement went back to Bradley's attorneys that afternoon. Gerald Mitchell called 45 minutes later. We need to talk, in person, my office, 2 hours. That's remarkably quick, Timothy observed after hanging up. They're panicking badly. At Gerald Mitchell's office 2 hours later, the atmosphere was tense, hostile. Gerald was old guard legal establishment, expensive three-piece suit, patrician manner, accustomed to winning, accustomed to power. Today he looked exhausted, defeated. My client is prepared to accept most of your terms, Gerald began without preamble, without pleasantries. $8 million, full custody to Elena, supervised visitation for Bradley, permanent restraining orders on family members, all attorney fees paid by Bradley. He agrees to all of it. He paused, took a breath. But he absolutely will not make a public statement admitting to abuse. The criminal case is still pending. Such a statement would be used against him by prosecutors. It would guarantee maximum sentencing. Then we proceed to full trial, Timothy said calmly. You can explain to your client that 8 women are prepared to testify, that high-definition video evidence exists, that his public television interview created significant doubt about his supposed remorse, that a jury will not be sympathetic to a wealthy man with a pattern of abusing multiple women. Gerald's jaw tightened. If he admits abuse publicly, the district attorney will use it to enhance criminal charges substantially. He'll get maximum sentencing, 5 to 10 years in prison. Good. Timothy didn't blink, didn't hesitate. He assaulted a pregnant woman. He abused multiple romantic partners over more than a decade. His family systematically covered up his crimes. Maximum sentencing sounds entirely appropriate. You're destroying a man's entire life over one mistake. Light mistakes that we have documentation for. Probably dozens more that were successfully hidden. Timothy leaned forward. Here's what's going to happen, Gerald. Your client is going to accept our deal. All of it, including the public apology admitting abuse, or we're going to trial, where 8 women will testify in graphic detail, where video evidence will be played repeatedly for the jury, where everyone will see exactly what kind of man Bradley Morgan actually is. Silence, long and heavy. Gerald looked at Bradley, who'd been sitting silently in the corner throughout the entire meeting. Say something, anything. Bradley's eyes met Elena's for the first time in weeks. She saw pure rage there, hatred, barely controlled violence. The mask had completely fallen away. This was who he actually was underneath the charm. You've destroyed everything, Bradley said quietly, dangerously. My business, my reputation, my family's standing, my entire life. Was it worth it? Does feeling powerful for once feel good? I didn't destroy anything, Elena replied, her voice steady, calm. You destroyed yourself. I just stopped lying about it, stopped covering for you, stopped protecting you from consequences. You could have come home. We could have worked this out privately. Instead, you made everything public, humiliated me, turned everyone against me, ruined me. Bradley's hands clenched into fists. I gave you everything. Every single thing you have, I gave you. And this is how you repay me. You gave me a cage. Elena's voice didn't waver, didn't shake. Beautiful, expensive, gilded. Still a cage. I don't owe you gratitude for that. I don't owe you anything. You owe me a child, my child. You think you're going to keep me away from my own baby? I think you're going to see your child under court-supervised conditions until you prove you're safe. until you demonstrate that you understand violence is never acceptable. Until you complete every single requirement the court sets. Elena stood. And if you don't, if you violate any terms, you'll lose even that small access. Bradley lunged forward. Ryan moved faster, caught Bradley's arm mid-motion, twisted it, forced him face first onto the conference table with minimal apparent effort. Professional, practiced, dangerous. Don't, Ryan said quietly. Don't give us more evidence. Gerald was on his feet. Bradley, stop immediately. This is exactly why you need supervision. Let him continue, Timothy said, his voice ice cold. Please, keep going. Show everyone in this room exactly why you need supervised visitation. Give us more evidence for the criminal trial. I'm recording this entire meeting. Bradley went still. The fight drained out of him visibly. He looked smaller suddenly, pathetic, defeated. I'll take the deal, he said finally, quietly. Everything you want, all of it, including the public apology admitting abuse? Timothy pressed. Long pause. Then, yes, I'll say whatever you want me to say. Not what I want you to say, the truth. Elena's voice was firm. You'll tell the truth, that you abused me, that you were wrong, that you're sorry, mean it or don't, but say it publicly. After they left Gerald's office, Elena sat in Timothy's car, shaking, not from fear this time, from adrenaline, from the profound realization that she'd just faced down her abuser directly, stood her ground, demanded accountability, and won. You were absolutely incredible in there, Timothy said. Genuine admiration in his voice. Most victims can't face their abusers like that, can't maintain that kind of strength and clarity. I had Ryan right there. Knowing he'd protect me helped immensely. You did it yourself, Ryan said quietly from the back seat. I just stood nearby. You found that strength inside yourself. Elena's phone rang. Catherine Walsh, the district attorney. I heard about the settlement terms, Catherine said, including the public apology admitting abuse. That's going to significantly help our criminal case. Shows consciousness of guilt. Makes his defense much harder. How long until the criminal trial actually starts? Elena asked. 4 to 5 months. These things take time. Witness preparation. Discovery. Legal motions. But Elena? Catherine paused. He's going to prison. I can promise you that absolutely. The evidence is too strong. The pattern too clear. The witnesses too credible. He's done. After hanging up, Elena asked Ryan to drive her somewhere specific. Her old office, Spectrum Solutions, where she'd worked before Bradley convinced her to quit. Her former manager, Patricia Chen, was shocked when Elena walked in. Elena, oh my God, I saw all the news coverage. Are you okay? Is the baby okay? We're getting there, getting better every day. Elena took a deep breath. Patricia, is my old marketing director position still open? You want to come back after everything? Eventually, after the baby is born, after I've recovered. But yes, I want to work again. I want to be someone besides Bradley Morgan's ex-wife. I want my own identity, my own purpose. Elena's voice was steady, certain. Can we talk about that possibility? Patricia smiled, slow, warm, genuine. Absolutely, let's get coffee. Talk about what you want, what we can offer, what a return might look like. Welcome back, Elena. We missed you. Bradley's public apology aired on 3 major television networks simultaneously. Elena watched from her new apartment, not Ryan's floor anymore, her own space. Small, modest, hers. 2 bedrooms, one for her, one for the baby. Furniture she'd chosen herself. Walls she'd painted soft colors. A nursery she was building with her own hands and vision. Freedom, real freedom, for the first time in years. On the television screen, Bradley looked broken, rehearsed. His expensive attorney had obviously coached every word, every pause, every expression. But the words themselves were clear, undeniable, legally binding. I abused my wife, Elena Bennett. Bradley's voice was steady, controlled. Emotionally, financially, physically, I systematically isolated her from friends and family. I controlled every aspect of her life. I assaulted her when she was 6 months pregnant with our child. He paused, looked directly at the camera. There's no excuse, no justification, no explanation that makes any of it acceptable. I was completely wrong. I hurt someone I claimed to love, someone who trusted me. I'm deeply sorry for the pain I caused. The interviewer pressed forward. What would you say to other victims of domestic violence watching this? That if someone is treating you the way I treated Elena, please leave. Get help immediately. You deserve infinitely better. Abuse is not love. Control's not care. Violence is never, ever acceptable under any circumstances. Bradley looked at the camera again. Elena, if you're watching this, I'm sorry for everything, for every moment. I hope someday you and our child can forgive me. The interview ended. Elena sat in complete silence. She felt nothing. No satisfaction, no vindication, no triumph, no anger, no sadness. Just tired, just empty, just done. Her phone buzzed. Ryan texting. How are you feeling about this? Elena typed back. Empty, numb. Is that normal? Ryan's response came immediately. Yes, closure doesn't feel like victory. It just feels like the end. Like finishing a marathon you never wanted to run. Another text, Jasmine Parker. Watching with you in spirit. You did it. You actually did it. You survived. Another, Victoria, her old college friend. I'm so incredibly proud of you. Coffee this week? I want to hear everything. I've missed you so much. Another, Patricia, job offer is officially official. Marketing director position. 75,000 salary. Start whenever you're ready. Absolutely no pressure. Elena looked around her apartment, at the life she was actively building, piece by piece, choice by choice, day by day. The baby kicked, strong, insistent. We did it, Elena whispered to her belly. We're actually free. Finally, completely free. 3 weeks later, the settlement was finalized completely. $8 million transferred to Elena's personal bank account. House purchased in her name only. Nursery furnished exactly how she wanted. Legal custody established. Permanent restraining orders issued against entire Morgan family. Bradley entered a guilty plea on the criminal charges to avoid full trial. Sentenced to 18 months in state prison, 3 years supervised probation after release. Mandatory counseling for the full probation period. Supervised visitation only with his child. His family's money and influence had finally completely failed to protect him. Elena started her 3rd trimester, working part-time remotely for Spectrum Solutions, slowly rebuilding her career, her confidence, her sense of self, making new friends through the Women's Shelter Support Group, reconnecting with old friends who'd never stopped caring despite the years of silence. Ryan moved into an apartment in her building, 2 floors down, close enough to help with the baby, far enough to give Elena genuine independence and privacy. You don't have to stay nearby, Elena told him one afternoon. They were having lunch in her apartment. You could go anywhere, do anything. You're not responsible for me. I want to stay, Ryan said firmly. I missed 8 years of your life. 8 years I can never get back. I'm not missing this. Your baby's first steps, first words, first everything. I want to be the cool uncle. I'm staying right here. Elena's throat closed with emotion. Thank you for everything, for finding me, for protecting me, for helping me remember how to be brave. You were always brave, Ryan said gently. You just forgot for a while. Now you remember. 1 month before her due date, Elena did something she'd been avoiding. She went back to Riverside Tennis Club, the scene where everything had fallen apart, where everything had begun. Marcus Webb saw her immediately, came over quickly. Elena, I hoped you'd come back eventually. I wasn't sure I could, wasn't sure I wanted to. Elena looked around. The terrace where Bradley had shoved her looked smaller now, less intimidating. Just a place, just stone and tables and memories that were losing their power. A lot has changed since that night, Marcus said quietly. We've implemented comprehensive new policies. Mandatory staff training on recognizing domestic violence. Support resources posted in every restroom. We never want to be a place where abuse happens again, where we look away. That's really good. Elena touched her belly, nearly full term now. Any day the baby could come. I wanted to thank you for testifying, for not looking away when it mattered most. I should have intervened sooner. I saw the warning signs for months. The way he spoke to you, the way you'd flinch. I told myself it wasn't my business. Marcus's expression was pained, guilty. I was wrong. When someone's being hurt in front of you, it's always your business. You helped when it counted most. That's what matters. Before leaving, Elena walked to the exact spot where Bradley had shoved her, where her carefully constructed life had shattered completely, where her real life had finally begun. She didn't feel scared standing there, didn't feel weak, didn't feel any of the things Bradley had spent 3 years making her believe she was. She felt strong, capable, free. The baby kicked hard. Agreement, determination. We're okay, Elena said aloud, to herself, to her baby, to the universe. We're going to be absolutely okay. Her water broke 2 weeks later. Ryan's apartment, Sunday dinner, completely cliche, unexpected, terrifying. Ryan drove her to the hospital, calm, efficient, exactly the person she needed in that moment. Labor was long, painful, transformative, 22 hours. Elena had never felt more powerful, more capable, more completely herself. At 3:47 in the morning, Elena's daughter was born. 6 pounds, 4 ounces. Perfect, beautiful, hers. She's incredible, Ryan whispered, looking at his niece with wonder, just like her mother. Elena held her baby, this tiny person who'd been with her through everything, who'd felt every moment of fear and pain and triumph, who'd kicked with determination when Elena's courage had faltered. Your name is Grace, Elena told her daughter, because that's what you've taught me. Grace, for myself, for others, for starting over, for beginning again. Grace opened her eyes, dark, alert, aware, looking at her mother like Elena was the entire world. And in that moment, Elena knew with absolute certainty, everything she'd survived, everything she'd fought for, everything she'd endured, it was all for this, for Grace, for the chance to raise a child who'd never learned that love and fear were the same thing, who'd never apologize for existing, who'd never let anyone make her small. Welcome to the world, baby girl, Elena whispered. It's complicated and hard and beautiful, just like us, just like we're going to be. 6 months later, Elena stood in a courtroom for Bradley's probation hearing. Grace was home with Elena's mother, happy, healthy, thriving, growing so impossibly fast, smiling now, laughing, reaching for everything, pure joy. Bradley had served 9 months in prison, released early for good behavior. Model prisoner, now he wanted modified visitation, unsupervised visits with Grace, overnight stays eventually. Absolutely not, Timothy argued forcefully. Mr. Morgan has completed court-mandated anger management. That's commendable. But 9 months of good behavior doesn't erase years of systematic abuse, doesn't prove lasting fundamental change. Grace is only 6 months old. She needs stability, consistency, not a father she doesn't know visiting sporadically. Bradley's new attorney tried a different approach. Gerald had dropped him after the guilty plea. My client has changed fundamentally. He's genuinely remorseful. He's completed every single requirement exceeding expectations. He deserves a real chance to know his daughter. The judge was a woman in her 60s, Judge Patricia Martinson. She'd reportedly survived domestic violence herself years ago. She looked skeptical, unimpressed. Mr. Morgan, Judge Martinson said, why do you want unsupervised visitation? Bradley stood. He looked different, thinner, older, worn down in ways that prison leaves on people. Because I want to be a real father, not just a supervised visitor. I want Grace to actually know me, to have a relationship with me. You had a chance to be a father, Elena spoke without being asked, her voice clear, strong. You had months while I was pregnant. You could have treated me with respect, protected us, prepared for parenthood responsibly. Instead, you hurt me, terrorized me, made me fear for my child's safety every single day. She stood. Grace is safe now, happy, Thriving. I won't risk that for your feelings. I won't gamble with her well-being. Judge Martinson nodded slowly, thoughtfully. Supervised visitation continues for another 6 months minimum. At that time, we'll reevaluate based on demonstrated progress. Mr. Morgan, I suggest you use this time to prove lasting change, not temporary performance for the court. Outside the courthouse, Bradley approached Elena, directly violating the restraining order, ignoring his attorney's frantic gestures to stop. Elena, please, just 5 minutes. Let me explain. Ryan was there instantly, blocking, protecting. Back away immediately, now. I just want to talk to my daughter's mother. 5 minutes of conversation. That's all. Please. Bradley's voice was desperate, pathetic. Elena looked at her ex-husband, this man who'd once controlled every single aspect of her life, who'd made her believe she was nothing without him, who'd stolen years she'd never recover. She felt nothing, no anger, no fear, no love, no hate, no connection whatsoever. He didn't matter anymore. He was just a person, just a stranger, just someone from her past. No, Elena said simply, calmly, turned, walked away. She heard Bradley calling after her, heard Ryan telling him to leave, heard Bradley's attorney trying to manage the situation, heard courthouse security approaching. Elena kept walking, didn't look back, didn't hesitate. At her car, she sat for a moment, breathing deeply, processing, realizing something profound. She'd faced her abuser, said no, walked away, felt completely fine. The power he'd once held had evaporated entirely. Completely, finally. That evening, Elena fed Grace, rocked her, sang lullabies badly off key, watched her daughter's eyes get heavy with sleep. These perfect, quiet moments. This perfect new life. Your father wanted to see you today, Elena told Grace softly. I said no. Maybe someday that'll change. Maybe he'll actually change fundamentally. But until then, we're fine. Just us. We're more than fine. Grace made a small, contented sound. Safe, loved, protected. Elena's phone buzzed. The Women's Shelter Support Group coordinator. They wanted Elena to speak at their next meeting, share her journey, help other survivors see the path forward. Another text. Patricia offering Elena a promotion, senior marketing director, leading an entire department. More responsibility, better salary, her old life back, except better. Earned, chosen, truly hers. Another text. Her mother. Proud of you every single day. You're the strongest person I know. Another text. Jasmine Parker. Grace's first birthday party, 6 months away. We're planning it together. No arguments allowed. Elena looked around her apartment, pictures on walls she'd chosen, furniture she'd selected, a life she'd built methodically piece by piece. Imperfect, messy, authentic, real, free. Grace fell asleep completely. Elena put her in the crib carefully, watched her chest rise and fall. This perfect little person who'd never see her mother apologize for existing, who'd never learn that love meant control, who'd grow up strong, independent, brave, free. Not because Elena was perfect, but because Elena was real, was honest, was herself. The doorbell rang, Ryan with takeout, their Sunday evening tradition. They ate on Elena's couch, watched terrible reality television, talked about nothing important, everything important. You did well today, Ryan said. Facing Bradley, standing your ground, walking away. It didn't feel hard anymore. That's strange, isn't it? It should feel hard. Elena picked at her noodles. I don't hate him anymore. I don't feel anything at all, just nothing. That's healing, real healing. Indifference is peace. Ryan smiled slightly. You've genuinely moved on. He's just background noise now, irrelevant to your actual life. What about you? Elena looked at her brother. You came home broken from war, used tennis coaching to heal, ended up in a dramatic rescue situation. How are you actually doing now? Ryan was quiet for a long moment. Better, much better. Watching you fight, watching you rebuild from nothing. It reminded me why I fought overseas in the first place, to protect people who couldn't protect themselves, to make the world incrementally safer. You gave me purpose again when I'd lost it completely. So thank you. We saved each other, Elena said softly. That's what family does. After Ryan left, Elena stood at Grace's crib, watched her daughter sleep peacefully, made promises. I promise you'll never see your mother afraid. I promise you'll grow up knowing your worth isn't tied to anyone's approval. I promise you'll understand that walking away takes more courage than staying ever could. Elena touched Grace's tiny hand. I promise you'll be free, always, in every possible way. Grace's fingers curled around Elena's instinctively, holding, trusting, knowing her mother would protect her, because Elena had finally learned to protect herself. 1 year later, Elena's anonymous article won a National Journalism Award for impact reporting. Dozens of women had come forward after reading it. Multiple wealthy men were investigated for domestic violence. Several were charged and convicted. The entire conversation around domestic violence in affluent communities had shifted fundamentally. Elena attended the ceremony with Grace on her hip, Ryan beside her, her mother behind her, Timothy Ashford and Catherine Walsh at her table, Jasmine Parker and her husband, Victoria, Patricia, Marcus Webb, the 7 other survivors who testified against Bradley, her community, her people, her chosen family. When they announced her name, Elena stood, walked to the stage, looked at the audience of hundreds, and told her story, in her own voice, with her own name. No more hiding, no more shame, no more silence. I'm Elena Bennett, she began, her voice clear, strong, certain. And I survived. The applause was deafening, overwhelming, validating. After the ceremony, reporters wanted interviews. Elena gave them. Openly, honestly, not as a victim anymore, as a survivor, an advocate, a voice for everyone still trapped. One reporter asked, "What would you say to someone in a similar situation right now?" Elena looked directly at the camera. You're not crazy. You're not weak. You're not alone. What's happening to you has a name. It's called abuse. And you can leave. You can survive. You can rebuild everything. She paused. Let the words sink in. It won't be easy. It won't be perfect. It won't happen overnight. But freedom is worth it. Your life is worth it. You are worth it. I promise. I absolutely promise. That night, Elena received hundreds of messages. Women sharing their stories. Men acknowledging their behavior. Families offering support. The ripple effect of truth spoken aloud. Elena read them until Grace woke for her midnight feeding. Rocked her daughter. Thought about the life they were building. The future opening before them like sunrise. You know what I finally realized? Elena told Grace. I spent 3 years letting Bradley define my worth. Make me small. Convince me I needed him to survive. But I never needed him. I needed myself, my own strength, my own voice, my own courage. She kissed Grace's forehead. And now you'll grow up watching your mother stand tall, make her own choices, build her own life. That's the gift I can give you. Not perfection, just authenticity, just truth, just freedom. Grace fell back asleep. Elena stayed awake a while longer, thinking, planning, dreaming. Tomorrow she'd start her new position. Senior marketing director, leading a team, making decisions, earning her own substantial income. Next week, she'd speak at 3 different women's shelters, share resources, offer hope, remind survivors they're not alone. Next month, she'd testify at a state legislative hearing about domestic violence laws, use her voice for systemic change, make things better for the next generation. But tonight, she'd just be Elena Bennett, survivor, mother, sister, daughter, friend, professional, advocate, human being, perfectly imperfect, beautifully flawed, completely authentic, entirely free. The life Bradley said she couldn't survive without him had become the life he could never touch again, could never diminish, could never control. And that was the greatest victory of all. Thank you for staying with Elena's story all the way to the end, for sitting with her pain, her fear, her courage, her triumph. If this story moved you, I'd be grateful if you'd hit that like button right now. It helps other people find Elena's story, other people who might need to hear it, who might be living it. Drop a comment below. Tell me what moment hit you hardest, what realization struck deepest, or just say you were here, that you listened, that you witnessed. Your words matter more than you know. Share this story, please. Share it with someone who needs to hear that leaving is possible, that courage exists, that freedom is real. You might save a life, truly. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. This channel tells stories that matter. Stories about real people facing impossible situations. Stories that need to be heard. Next time, I'll tell you about the woman who discovered her perfect husband had 3 other families, 3 other wives, 3 completely separate lives, and how she brought them all together to take him down. But that's a story for another day. Until then, remember Elena's words. You're not crazy, you're not weak, you're not alone, and you're worth fighting for. Thanks for listening. I'll see you in the next story.